This fucking guy.
Don't go there on Mondays.
They're closed on Sunday and Monday. Everybody deserves a day off.
It's a day off.
Sunday, Monday.
I got to prep and be ready for Taco Tuesday.
Sunday is the Lord's day, and Monday is their day off.
God, thought I'd never hear you say that.
Come on, man. Have some respect.
Remember the days of being off?
Yeah.
On Sundays?
What's it been like for 3 months?
Or the days of getting off.
Oh, I love it. It's fucking amazing.
You're never going to go back to work.
I don't want to. Soaking it in, man.
Dude, I don't blame you. I would too.
I would too.
I would absolutely.
No rush in this world.
Let me send you guys the notes.
Yeah, I need notes.
Dude, I was thinking about like taking a trip, like finding a cheap ass flight somewhere and just going by myself for a couple days.
Oh, do it.
Go to Oregon and go to the last Blockbuster for me.
The Blockbuster?
I know I fucked that up. The last Blockbuster.
Wishful thinking. It's Chris's wishful thinking.
Well, how expensive are the tickets for there?
You got to fly all the way to Oregon, so I'm sure they're not cheap.
It's you're probably going to spend even for coach.
Dude, just like a one bag trip. That's all I want.
Do it, man. I did that when I went to Hollywood by myself. For the Jurassic Park thing, and that was so fun. All I packed was just one of those hard shell carry-on weekender things, and I flew in. I flew in Friday, came home Sunday. That's a lot of flying for that short of a trip, but it was well worth it.
Is it introvert that stick to yourself? See, that's me. I'm more of an introvert.
I am too.
Yeah. So if I fly somewhere, I'm probably just going to hang out in the hotel for a couple days.
That sounds wonderful.
Just hang out.
Real fucking boring.
I know. That's why I got to go somewhere that's like there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like a Denver, Colorado, or Nashville, Tennessee, or like something where there's a lot to do that I can.
Oh, where'd those race riots happen this summer?
Kennesaw? Kennesaw? Is that right?
Go there.
There's a lot going on there.
Kenosha?
Not good.
Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah. What do I got to lose? A couple $100.
Your life?
Not Kenosha.
Steelers play the Ravens the last game, right?
I'm not going to.
I was just say go to Baltimore.
I want to go out west because I've never been out west.
Arizona, baby.
I would. Golf. Rent some clubs.
Scottsdale, or
I got the Phoenix
Glendale's
Open.
supposed to be good too.
Glendale's really nice. Yeah, that's where my sister lives.
I think the Phoenix Open's going on right. Well, is that this weekend?
What's it?
Next week.
The Waste Management. I think that's this week.
The Waste Management Tour?
Waste Management Open.
On New Year's Eve, they're doing that?
They might end.
Wait, is that a golf thing?
Yeah.
It's the Waste Management Tour?
It's not a tour. It's a tournament.
By like the trash company?
They're just sponsored.
It's a sponsor. They do it up though.
Golf doesn't get the names that like the NFL does, and
apparently not.
Remember those golf shoes that came in like the or the trash truck box?
Were they Browns?
Might as well.
No, they're like the grassy green.
No.
I gotta show you those.
Folks ready? I sent you notes.
I didn't open them yet.
All right. Sounds good.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the news traffic accident.
Chug it.
Beaver County man being held for murder.
What's going on, y'all? You're tuning in to the highest rated, most listened to podcast to ever grace the airwaves, and you're a better person for listening to us. All right, maybe not, but you're really going to enjoy it anyways. This is Made to Motivate podcast, and we'll be talking social media hot topics, pop culture news, the greatest in movies and music, and all things sports. Make sure you're following us on social media at Made to Motivate podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can watch the show on our YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, and with that being said, let's get this show started. I think is this the multiplicity number 4 version of you? That's my Peppy Steve.
That's my Peppy Steve.
I want a monkey.
I love when he has the tape measure.
He falls back on the bed.
They make the skis. Me and my brother actually made those in our garage when they staple the shoes.
2x4s or whatever.
We actually made a set of those when we used to live in Copley.
He just goes backwards. He's like,
oh my god,
great movie.
It's a great,
Such
very
a good
underrated.
Movie. What is going on, y'all? This is Made to Motivate podcast. And this is your host, Ryan Weiss.
Fuck.
I'm joined, as always, by Jesse Young from Sports Illustrated.
Right there, man. Facelift looking good.
And black screen. He's not here. But I do got someone named Christopher, the Film Freak Kessinger.
That's me. Somebody has to show up to this goddamn show.
That's right. And one and only, the replacement, the far better version, the upgrade, Daniel Sandmann.
I'm here too.
What's up, sir?
What's up, guys?
We're back.
Much better in one piece.
Much better this week after our lovely, thanks to Daniel.
That was awesome.
Awful episode last week with the one and only. I
Marty
can't reach
McFly.
it. I don't know why I'm touching this. The Trouble Bubble.
Ugh.
Horrible memories.
If you haven't seen that episode, it's only on a video right now. I didn't think you guys would want to listen to it. You really got to watch it. Go on the YouTube, listen to, watch, see us all cry, watch Jesse turn into a bitch real quick after he tried to be a tough guy. The Kajans, Cajones, Trouble Bubble, Bubblegum Challenge. Highly recommend. Give it a shot. Hit up Heather's Heat in Hudson if you'd like a piece for yourself. Not a sponsor. If you'd like to, message us though, and we can set something up. Anyhow, enough of that shit. Awful memories. Going into a new year, we'll forget about Packy and that nonsense.
There's lots of other hot stuff we could try.
Good to be able to talk. Oof.
Bro, right? That was awful.
Or like, was that stinky fish that?
No.
What is that?
No.
That's
My buddy
guaranteed.
Rich, literally the night after we watched, right when I posted the bubblegum video on TikTok, he messages me and sends me that stinky fish thing. He's like, I'd love to see you guys do this for the next one. And I'm like, absolutely.
Just fish though?
It's like
canned fish,
it's like-
but it's been like
it's
fermenting.
Yeah, it's like fermented fish from like Sweden in like a
It's a
can. Bro,
delicacy.
it looks awful.
I'd rather do that though than the hot stuff.
I would see. Here's the thing.
No, the
The hot stuff
I
is
won't puke
awful,
on.
but
No,
that
but
stuff
you-
would make me throw up.
Yeah.
The
Just
hot
the
stuff
smell
is
alone.
miserable. That, yeah, you open that up. Did you ever see the video that one girl does that does the food videos and she did the fish out of the can? You're friends with her on
Oh, Maggie. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where she did. Oh, I can't remember what it's
it was
called.
like that
though.
fish. It's like that.
Yeah, and she said she hurled off screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
not.
Look, I'd rather fucking eat that though than to be
No.
in hell for 15
No.
minutes.
Nope,
No,
nope,
you'll
nope.
be in hell for longer than that.
I can take
Because
a
probably-
drink after I bite into that shit. You guys can't.
See, the heat doesn't make me nauseous. That makes, even just thinking about it makes me want to throw up.
The smell.
Yeah, the
Just the smell.
Well, the next time you guys do a heat
As soon as
challenge,
that
I'll do
lick-
a nasty challenge.
No more heat challenges. We can do something else. But I
What
don't
other challenges are there?
I don't know. Chug a beer challenge or
Wash your balls in 5 minutes.
does it take you that long?
Yeah, they're big, man.
You got the big bulls. Get the big bulls. Anyways, we're back. It's New Year's week. We all enjoyed or didn't enjoy Christmas because COVID sucks and fucks everything up. But we're going to New Year of the show. We're going to be hitting the season 6.
Yeah.
Season 6 next week. This is the end of season 5. That feels like it went really quick.
Yeah, well, it's when we have our anniversary day is what, in August?
Yeah, September, I think. Or
Mm.
August, very end of
I think it's
August.
late August, yeah. So I mean, you only have what, 3 or 4 months there?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You see the second half of the year, we've got a 4-month season and then we've got a longer first half. But just the way it kind of works to break things out, start something new. New year.
There was a
new us.
couple of weeks though that you definitely took a break.
We had some breaks this year. Yeah, we did some vacationing. We did some time off. We enjoyed the summer. Jesse had a baby, so that we had a couple
He's had a
moments
lot
there
of
where we
weeks
were.
off.
Yeah, he's out.
Ryan caught up.
We'll be back. Get the fuck out of here. Anyhow, what is new? I know you guys are far better off this week than you were last week.
Fuck that.
You can't be worse. What's new and exciting? What do you guys got going on? Anything that you happen that you're psyched about?
Pool tournament starting next week.
Yes.
Yeah. We are going ahead with it despite everything going on right now. But
Same thing happened last year. We did it.
right,
It was
right.
cool.
I mean, players are welcome to wear masks. I'll be wearing one. Everybody's welcome to wear one if they want.
Is a thong acceptable as a mask?
If you feel necessary, sure. Just let me get a picture for the site. That's it. But we got that going on.
Is it lacy?
It's very lacy.
It's a licorice thong. Other than that, just currently, as of right now, in my top 180 films of the year list, which Brian was psyched about.
We'll talk about it.
Number 8 pick. If you're curious on my favorite movies of the year, head on over to the Film Freak review page and check that out. But I got to post the top 5 in approximately 35 minutes.
Yes, sir. And we'll talk about. There's a couple I want to talk about in Hollywood Report, so we can do that. Daniel, what is new? What's hot? What's exciting?
Oh, there's a lot new.
Whoa.
Actually, I just got back from a nice little 2-day vacation down to Columbus.
Yeah,
2-day getaway. Can't really call it a vacation, but
Just seeing Columbus.
went to the Christmas light thing at the zoo.
Zoo lights.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They had a ton of lights. Didn't see very many aminals.
How does that stretch like a mile long or something? Or
It's throughout. It's throughout each section of the zoo. I mean, the entrance. They have that little lake there, or pond.
yeah.
That was just full of lights. Every single tree had lights on it. It was millions.
Did it cost anything?
Yeah, I don't know how much it was. I think it was like $25, $35, something like that.
Damn.
But it was cool. And then we went to we went to Kosai on Tuesday and went through the Marvel exhibit, and that was pretty awesome.
Saw that they had some of the costumes there too.
Yeah.
Like the Black Panther was really
Movie
cool.
worn.
Yeah.
Like they had little placards underneath them that told you what movie they were from. It was pretty cool.
That's just crazy. Like, is that a temporary museum? Like they're
is
only there for so long?
Yeah. I don't know exactly how long they're there for. You gotta, when you buy your ticket, you basically have to book your time window because it was pretty packed. There's a lot of people gathering around everything. You see they got a couple covers from first issues, Spider-Man, Captain America. It was pretty rad.
Nice. What about you, Ryan?
Is that all?
Christmas happened. I don't have an ulcer. I was on the toilet for like 4 hours.
You just ate the bubble gum. That's all it was.
It was just bubble gum.
It's pink. I'm not
But
afraid of gum.
Freaking grasping onto my side, leaning up against the wall in pain until 3 a.m. that night.
Can I get some of that milk?
So,
Funny.
survived that. What else is new? Got some shoes.
You did get
last
some
couple
shoes.
days. So that's pretty fun. I don't know if I'm going to be keeping them or selling them. Or
You'll keep them. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You kept the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Greedy fuck.
Well, I could sell it. If somebody
Yeah,
wants to
Dan. Some
fork
kid
over.
missed a freaking PlayStation at Christmas because of you.
Oh,
Selfish.
They could have bought it.
If
But
I
yeah,
only had
that's
longer
it. I think
arms.
That's it.
That's cool. That's cool. I didn't do much. I, like you gents, survived the gum. Made it through. It was awful.
What'd you do after you ate the gum?
Enjoyed misery after enjoying something else.
What was that?
I savored the flavor. It was awful. Don't recommend. It travels from place to place after you eat it. So you just got to be careful where you put your mouth.
Travels where?
Wherever you put your mouth, I guess. The gum sucked. I didn't do much of anything else. I don't think. I'm trying to remember. God, I always have so much going on, but I don't do anything.
Well, you set up your cricket.
Oh, I got a cricket. Yeah. I got a cricket. Cry cut. That's what I used to call them.
That's what I thought it was. Seriously.
I literally always called it cry cut, and I heard someone say cricket, and I was like, that makes way more sense. That's like when I used to call memes maymays because I really thought that's what they were called. Maymays. It's what it looks like.
Making memes on cricket.
Yeah. So I bought myself a cricket. I'm so fucking lame, but I bought one on a whim. Dan had that golf club that he did for Chris, and I was like, that's pretty cool. I would like to be able to do like stuff like that on occasion.
Yeah.
So I bought one, and I figured with my Rock Everywhere stuff, I could do some cool stickers and decals and things like that with it. So I got it to mess around with, and I've made some decals of my own. I made some for my brother's farm, and just kind of messing around, seeing what it can do, what things it can offer up. So I did that. I've been messing around with getting that set up, and that's really it. Trying to figure out Christmas. We were supposed to have Christmas on Christmas, and then got canceled because my brother had COVID. And then we were supposed to redo Christmas this coming weekend. And now my dad and my stepmom aren't feeling well, so we're not getting together again. So now I'm just kind of like, oh, this fucking sucks. I got all these gifts just sitting around. I'd like to exchange, but it's like part of the fun part of me, like last year, because of COVID, we weren't going to be getting together. It wasn't like now where we just aren't because people aren't feeling well. Last year, like no one was getting together. So we did like drive-by Christmas. But like that takes away the fun. Like I want to see you open your gifts and enjoy them. That's part of the excitement in giving gifts. I don't want to just drop it off at your front door and you open it and that's it. Like I don't know, it takes away the experience.
And that's what this time of year is about getting together with family and friends and hanging out. And with COVID going on, people getting sick, you just can't do that. So it hurts a little bit.
It does. It really does. It sucks. I mean, it's as we get older, everyone's got so much going on. We all have work. We do the show. I'm busy with other things. You don't see your family as often as you probably could. I know, and I take that for granted because both my parents live fairly close to me. I could see them way off more often than I do, but life just kind of gets in the way. So we always know we're getting together for the holiday. Like everyone will be available. We'll make an effort. And then when it doesn't happen, it just sucks. So trying to figure that out, but that's really it. Going into the new year, ready for see what the show brings. See what
2022, man, crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's wild to think about that. COVID started at the end of 2019.
Yeah,
and we're going to 2022, and we're still dealing with the repercussions and things of this. And hopefully, like we say year over year, hopefully this year it goes away and it's better and we move on. I'm really hoping. I got things to look forward to this summer. We got the stuff being done in the house. Bought the boat. Want to be able to go out and enjoy that, which great. That's an outdoor thing and don't have to worry about COVID getting in the way of, but really looking forward to just having a somewhat normal year. We'll see what happens.
Maybe your team can win one more game and then that would be an enjoyable experience on your boat.
It will be. Jesse can be my bitch. He'll have to actually show up, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, he'll be there. If he made the bet, he'll be there.
He'll be there if he wins. He'll miraculously be busy if he loses. Oh, can't get away. They got the baby.
You don't want me coming to your house and grabbing you and getting you out of there. Trust me.
So yeah, we'll see what happens this coming year, but that's really it. Talk. I mean, Hollywood's the big one. I say we do that last.
You want to do that last?
Let's do that as the curtain call.
I was going to jerk your curtain, but
no. I say there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about in Hollywood, so I say we should finish the show off with that. Let's do a quick Let's Get Social, then we'll do sports, and then we'll finish up with Hollywood Report because those two segments are pretty short. So we'll knock those out and then entertain everyone with Christopher serenading us through a lullaby about movies. Prepare yourself, sir. Let's get social.
It is July 20th, 1969, and man is about to land on the moon.
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
That's the way the news goes.
That's the way the news goes. It sucks.
that's the way love goes.
Love. Oh, what a thing. Let's get social.
You want to?
Yeah, I like getting social. Okay. Depends on what you consider social.
Yeah.
Just hit that like button.
You're gonna wear a mask?
Tongue bang, anal.
Oh, whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
Now things just got real. We're gonna have to create another segment for that. Like
Escalated.
late night sex talk. What's that old lady that used to do the like?
Oh, Dr. Ruth.
Yeah, dude.
Do you remember Love Lines? Adam Carolla and Drew Pinsky. I used to tune in every night at Buzzard Radio to hear that.
Bro.
That was like my first experience because my parents didn't teach me shit.
I liked girls jumping on trampolines on the Man Show.
Yeah.
You watched the Man Show?
Yeah, I did.
It's fantastic.
That was also Adam, wasn't it? Adam Carolla.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in the world of news, you know, outside of movies, music, sports, and that sort of thing, one of the things we're following up on is Giselle Maxwell. Is that her name?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. The friend of Jeffrey Epstein is what they said in the article. Yeah. Weren't they married? They're not married, or boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, or lovers?
They're not married, but they're I think they're an item. I believe they were
romantically.
I was
linked.
Yeah. I don't know. That was weird. I saw the article that said friend of, and I was really confused by that. Maybe I don't know. Either way.
I know they're not married.
Yeah, but I thought they were an item.
Yeah.
Romantically. Obviously not anymore because he hung himself. But allegedly. She got found guilty of 5 or 6 charges of her 5 of 6 charges of her case, which I don't know. Are either of you surprised that she was found guilty?
No.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that she was found guilty at all. I am just surprised a little bit by the coverage.
The
and,
coverage,
like, nothing
right.
else has come out about it.
I think a lot of it, like, and we've talked about it before, but I think a lot of it is just basically that people were looking for the big names to come out of this, and they never did. They never even made a deal to try to get those big names, is the thing. So once that happened, there's not much you can probably put on a news article.
Yeah.
Just, the fact is, if she's innocent or if she's guilty,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. So that's good news. I mean, at least she's being held accountable. We'll see.
Was that 20 years? They haven't done the sentencing yet, but they carry like 20 years per.
Yeah, she'll do life.
Yeah. Couples finish each other's sentences,
Dude, I thought that meme was
That was great.
So funny. I don't think they can handle this as poorly as they did Jeffrey Epstein. Just with the way once he was sentenced and put in jail, and they were supposed to give him like the high profile monitoring and everything, and they dropped the ball. Like this one, they're really going to have to make sure that they do appropriately and that she doesn't get an out, even if it is fucking dying in jail. Like she needs to do her time and be held accountable for.
She's been in jail since the start, right?
Yeah, they've held her. She wasn't given bail or anything like
Right.
that.
There's no bail or anything.
High flight risk, I guess, is what they call it, or something. Like if she would try and run.
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't
She'd
give her
run to
bail.
another
Yeah.
island or something.
I'd like to think you only pull that stuff off one time, the whole
Right.
Jeffrey thing. Like that can't happen again. If it does, that prison needs to be shut down.
Right. Yeah, I'll be curious to see where she goes. Even with her high profile, I imagine like just like Martha Stewart when she went to jail, like she was treated completely different. But this.
She went to a minimum security too. It was like a
Yeah.
country club. They had tennis. They had all this stuff.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like what kind of treatment she's going to get. Is she going to be general pop? Can they even put someone like that in general pop, or they don't because there's just a risk of?
It's a safety risk.
Yeah.
I would think no. I would think maximum.
So she's isolated all the time.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awful.
She probably has like freedoms here and there that like other prisoners probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like she's probably entitled to books or whatever,
Yeah.
anything to keep her entertained. But they're not going to put her with the population. If one person finds out about that you did anything with children, you are fucking dead.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously. I don't feel bad for her. She's guilty of the crimes that she did.
Yeah.
But even so, just thinking about the human nature aspect of it, to think about. I mean, she's what, maybe 50s. So for the next
56, I think.
Okay, so let's say she lives another 15 years.
Yeah.
Can you imagine another 15 years in a room like this size, smaller than this, every day? For 23 hours a day, and that's all you have. I mean, people really got to think about that stuff. And committing these stupid crimes, it's not worth it, man. Just be a good person.
Yeah. One thing that I've talked to you about it a couple of times, but I've never really revealed on the show was I spent a weekend in juvenile hall when I was a kid. And honestly, that room, that
You bad boy.
I was a very bad boy. That claustrophobia though, like that kind of turned me around. Like I couldn't do it. Like I was freaking out, having panic attacks while I was standing in there.
Bro.
Couldn't do it.
I mean, you're in a cell with maybe a little window on your cell if you're lucky, and then I mean a small window on your door, and I mean you don't leave that room. Just the mental strain that's got to put. I mean, people go psycho in there, and then, but it's like, what's the right thing to do? Is it inhumane? I mean, you're a criminal. You have to be held accountable. You have to be. I mean, we're going to put you in jail and let you fucking go swimming and play sports and crap, like that's not.
I don't think a cell like that is inhumane, but I think like, what's the thing where they have
isolation
where they lock them away. There's no light. There's no nothing. That's inhumane.
Like that one dude that they did that documentary on that kid. You remember
from Rikers? Yeah.
And they put him in there for like 3 months at a time.
Mm-hmm. And they showed like the psychological effects that it had on his brain. You could see the trauma on a scan and all that. Yeah. That I think is inhumane.
It's awful, man.
Yeah.
But it's like, is that humane for anybody though? Like, is there a certain criminal that is justifiable?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I just think that's unnecessary on all.
At that point, you should just sentence them to death.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it would be more justifiable, to be honest. Like, I mean, you can just lock anyone down. If you want to give them life, give them life. They're locked in a cell.
Yeah.
You're
still taking away their freedoms.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to treat people inhumane. I mean, you're a criminal. I think you can still make sure that, you take away their pleasures of seeing other people and, getting to do whatever you want, whenever you want. But I still think basic human rights should still stand even in jail, and a lot of people probably don't agree with that. And if it's someone that like victimized someone I knew closely, I probably wouldn't feel that way, but it's also like, I don't know, it's just so awful, man. Like I have a close person that that we know through our family who committed a heinous crime, and at 21 years old was sentenced to life.
Wow.
In prison. And I just can't imagine at that age, like your entire life is gone, you know, and you will, all the things that you miss out on.
That's why they make something of themselves, or find things to do within those walls.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I always tell my friends, I said, look, if I ever get accused of murder anywhere, it's a lie. There's no way I did that, because like, to me, prison is my worst nightmare.
Yeah, dude.
I would rather be dead. So here's the thing. If I'm getting accused of that and I get sentenced to that, like I'm found guilty, I'm just going to kill myself any way I can in prison. Right. I'll figure out a way.
I can't imagine it. Yeah. I watched that show not long ago, 60 Days In.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. I mean, it's a show. I don't know. This seems like a real show though, not like a fluffed up,
just a
reality TV show. Like this seems real. Like it was initiated and started by the warden of a prison because they were having so many issues inside that they wanted to figure out how can we make this better for both our employees and for the what are they called when you're in jail? Fucking
inmates.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know words.
That is what you meant though, right?
Inmates,
okay, yeah.
Prisoners. Yeah. Fucking dude, my brain doesn't work sometimes. I'm not the smartest person.
Should've stuck to 2 tacos.
It's taco overload. No, but I watched the show, and if you guys aren't familiar with it, it's they send real life people who like you sign up for the show to go undercover in jail as an inmate, and you try and uncover the things that are happening for the inner workings, so that you can report back to the warden of the jail and let them know, like, this is how drugs are being smuggled in. Hey, your officers are treating the inmates poorly, like they're doing things they shouldn't do. And this is terrifying. And this is a jail where like people are just in like general population where they just hang out throughout the day, and
the beds are out. There's bunk beds.
Yeah, dude. And I would be terrified of this.
No, thank you.
You know, so I can't. And these people go in for 60 days.
Yeah.
And some of them tap out within a week.
What are you getting paid to go to jail for 2 months?
It's real interesting the things they uncover. But I mean, watching it, there was times where I'm like getting angry.
There's safe words.
Yeah, they got safe words. They would do like a body symbol like on camera.
If they want out,
like if they need to get out, like if they feel threatened or they need like to get out of there. The one dude on the one I watched, he was a correctional officer in a jail. Like that's his job. He didn't even make it through the intake process, and he tapped out. Just based on like the experience he had in that short period of time. He's like, I can't do this.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So
there's one guy who thought he was hot shit and went in.
The big dude that would just work out all the time, take his shirt off.
Thought he was tough.
Yeah.
And
that dude drove me nuts.
I think he tapped out because he was scared for his life.
Yeah.
Because he's coming on too strong.
Yeah.
In there, and people were calling him out for it and threatening him. So he's like, get me out of here.
You got to go in with the right mindset. I mean, you're in jail. They need to think that you're in jail, because you got to think, if they know that you're undercover, even though you're not a cop, you're undercover.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself in danger.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't want anybody to know that. I'm going in low key, going to do my thing and like try and be chill about it.
Yeah. I guess the one thing that could save me mentally is knowing that like I can get out whenever I want.
Right.
Like if I feel like right now it's too much for me, I can just, click my heels or whatever I got to do and get out.
Yep. And that's what some of them did. Some of the episodes I watched, because I went back and I like started binging it because I got like hooked. I found it randomly. I was just trying to find something to watch during the day. And then I went back and binged it. And a lot of them would make it through all the time. They do like 3 girls, 3 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of these people would just be like, they'd start crying. Can't do it. Like, this is terrifying. But I mean, the one episode they show a dude getting shanked.
Yeah.
On camera. I'm like, this is sketchy as fuck. That's when I was like, this is real. Like, they showed this dude.
Yeah.
Just getting shanked with like a toothbrush.
And that's like, I know he doesn't
their
care,
ass beat in one of the bunk rooms.
Do they know they're being filmed, or is it like in the wall?
So they have the security cameras that are part of the jail that are always there, that they tap into and monitor. But then they think that there's a documentary being done. So they have a camera crew that will come in.
Oh God.
But like Dan mentioned on the one, the guy was being threatened. They know about, like, if you're in jail, they can watch TV. So like a couple of the episodes I watched, they know about the show 60 Days In, And they were like, that bitch is 60 days in. And it actually was the girl that was undercover.
Yeah.
And they like, just by her interactions, they were like, she's on that show. And they had to pull her because they were like, her life's in danger.
Familiarity. Yeah. Yep.
So they got to be careful about that. But anyways, that's a big tangent. But jail just, I don't know, jail's one of those things to me that's like, it's a necessity. But then I just think about that. And granted, don't be a fucking criminal. You don't got to worry about it, you know? I just can't imagine. I can't imagine being in, I mean, literally a jail cell is probably the size of my closet.
Yeah.
And that might even be big.
Probably less than that. Yeah.
And I mean, and people just, well, Maxwell's, that's it. That's what you get. For her, I mean, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a fucking piece of shit.
I don't feel sorry for her one bit.
So yeah, she was found guilty. That's the end of that trial.
Is there going to be more coming from this?
I think that's what everybody hoped for. I think that was like what Chris said. I think that was what the hype was. People wanted to find out.
Like she was
celebrity A, B, and C was a part of this. And we want all the gossip.
I followed it pretty religiously, like during the whole thing, even though it wasn't televised or marketed too well. To me, like the biggest thing I was shocked at is in the closing arguments, they didn't pursue other names. Like they should have cut a deal with her, even if it means less time for her or whatever. Like I'm willing to do that for more names. Like I'm willing to say, like, not necessarily that she gets out in 5 years or whatever, but I'm willing to say, like, hey, 20 years you get out, you give us every name that you have.
Right.
I'm cool with that.
Right.
Like let her fly for a little bit, because her life will be over in 20 years anyway. She has no life left.
Right. Because I mean, at this point,
she can file an appeal, right?
Yeah.
On this decision,
Yeah,
and then maybe a deal gets worked out.
I heard she has no plans to, though. She was accepting it head on what happened. So
I mean, I think for her, she probably knows she's going into a cush situation.
Yeah.
She's going to leave this behind her. She's going to do her fucking time. It is what it is. Like, because you got to think on the outside, she's been running. I mean, until she got caught, you're running. You're always wondering when you're going to get caught. You can't live your life. Granted, that's your own fault. But now it's probably a sense of relief. It's done. It's over with. I'm going to do my time. And that's what it is.
Just get it over with. Yeah.
But to that point also, there's more people that were involved.
You get one life.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
There's more people involved than just the two of them.
Yeah. And even if it's not the big sexy names that everybody wants on there, like to me,
right,
everybody deserves to be explored. I don't care who it is. If it's a guy you've never heard of.
The chefs and the housekeepers and the people that live there that fucking knew what was going on and never said anything.
We're quiet.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
You're just as all those people that were victimized. Come on, man.
100%.
Maybe not life, but you got to be held accountable for what you did.
Agree.
There was no way all that's going on there. And just the two of them are guilty.
The second I find out that kids are being brought in here and there's some kind of ring going on, I'm not only getting out of there, I'm fucking yelling to everybody as loud as I can.
Absolutely, bro. I don't want to be complicit to something like that.
No.
I definitely do not want to be complicit to something like that. You know, like in the living with that, knowing it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that, man.
Nope. Kids are one thing, man. You just don't fuck with.
And yes, Daniel, you have one life. So take that trip.
You have one life,
just do it,
and
man.
you're going to spend
the rest of it
in a cell.
People really take it for granted
for bad decisions. Like
I think a lot of it too, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's a psychological imbalance. Obviously, like people will look at their life, like we can look at it and go, life is valuable, but somebody looks at it and they go, life is temporary. It's not.
That mindset's so crazy to me, man.
Yeah, it's not like, if I do something wrong, I'm not really going to ruin my life over it. I mean, it's a temporary thing. I'll go to jail for a couple years and then I'll get out. They don't see the big picture.
Is it a education? Is it like poorly educated, poorly brought up? Is it a mental disability? Because I mean, to your point, I agree. There's people that do stuff that it's just mind boggling. Like, you know, you're going to get fucking caught at some point and you do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And is it just because you,
well,
I try and understand this. I try and think about, okay, I'm 17, 18 years old,
mm-hmm.
and I'm getting myself into a life of crime knowingly. And I know I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail at some point. Like, I'm going to get caught. And you just don't care. Like, you don't, all the things that you're going to miss out on. Is your life just that miserable? You don't give a fuck? Or do you just not care?
Hold on. So to a certain degree, like there are those people like, so when we had Derek on the show about a year and a half ago, he talked to us about black youths and how they struggle in the streets and all that. And how basically, you know, they grow up without, you know, fathers, a lot of these cases, and that they turn to the things that help their families survive. So for them, the motivations are very clear cut to start to begin with, but you get lost in this life so easily. And then all of a sudden one problem becomes 10 and 10 becomes 20. Soon you're outrunning something that has already shouldered you whole and you don't even see it coming. So yeah, I think a lot of it is maybe initially these kids are doing it for honorable intentions, but it comes with a punch and it comes with a price, and these kids pay it every single time.
And for some of them, maybe that jail cell is the safest place for them.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, I get that. It just, to me, it's just so hard to think about, you know, like, and especially the older you get, it's so weird because we're all so ignorant when we're, you know, in high school, early 20s, 18, 19 years old. And everyone tries to tell you the things that are important. And we think it's an older person. I don't give a, like, they don't fucking know, you know, you don't want to believe what your elders tell you.
Best years of your life, high school.
And then you get older and you really start to think about that stuff, you know, and it's like, you wish that you would really listen and understand what someone is trying to tell you when it's being told to you, because it is really important. And it's crazy to think about the stuff that the people that just throw it away, you know, the lives that are just, that people just don't care, you know, it's so precious. And, you know, you just really got to do the things that you love and enjoy and really take advantage of the good things, you know, and to your point about what Derek talked about, that episode was really hard because there is those kids and those families that is all they know.
It's a reality.
And it's generational. And they don't break away from it. And I wish that there was more more support systems, more availability, more things that we're doing. And you got people like Jesse who teach in that situation. And that dude does a lot of good in being there for these kids, all teachers, you know, but especially in a situation where like, that's their outlet, or that's like Dan says their safe place. And maybe to them, jail is a safe place, or school is their safe place. And that's all they know. And how do we break them out of that cycle? You know, how do we break these kids out of these cycles to give them the opportunity to make them see that light, to make them see that there's more there, and to cherish the life that they're given, you know?
Sometimes I don't know if the answer is there.
I wish I was in a position, you know, I wish I was independently wealthy or something where I had the time that I could, you know, you could try and enact these changes, because at our level, it's so hard. We have to work every day and bust our asses just to make ends meet and stuff like everyone else.
Some of us.
But you got people that are really in the position that you unfortunately don't see offering the help, you know, that there's people that are out there that could give back to their community so much. Say LeBron, for example. This is a guy that gets a lot of hate. And people want to say the things that he does is just for his name or for his reputation. And if that's the case, I don't care, because the dude does a lot of good. The things that he does in Akron and with the education and the programs that he gives to these families, he's taking those families that are in generational, crime or low income or no education, and he's giving them opportunities. And if more people took on that responsibility, I think we could see, you could start to break through some of that, you know,
because any kind of change from the deviated formula is better than what we've already been experiencing.
Absolutely.
Because we've already proven that this formula does not work. So anything that LeBron or anybody for that matter that wants to attempt to get it out, I support that, 100%.
Absolutely. And we gotta figure out programs. I know, like, a lot of that's because it's poor areas and they don't pass levies and they don't got the money. We got to have government things that we can help out. I would much rather be funding situations like that to help families and help kids get through and break through these cycles than be giving out handouts to people that don't want to contribute anything.
I would too.
100%.
So that's a libertarian in me, though.
Yeah, it's sad.
Or instead of tearing up 17 highways in a 5-mile radius, use some of that
for something
funding.
Good.
We could get on a book about that.
I know, right?
It's sad. And then we're running the situation. So with COVID revamping, or Omicron, Optimus Prime, whatever the fuck we're calling it nowadays.
Calling you Jeffrey.
Yeah, we'll call it Jeff. My name is Jeff. Speaking of that in schools and in these kid situations, we're running into another issue up in Cleveland with COVID popping off year 3, technically.
Going into it.
1, 2, going into year 3. Yeah. I can't count. I'm not a math teacher. But anyways, Cleveland schools are talking about shutting down again.
Yeah.
Possibly going to remote learning again. Any thoughts on that? I mean, right thing to do. We're going to get back to this in Akron. I don't think anything's been said yet, but that's one of those situations where you run into a tough situation with one. I mean, is it the right thing to do because of the health situation? Let's not put people at risk. But then you've got Cleveland is lower income and has issues. Are we putting these kids in situations where now that they're missing out on learning and the education that they need because they're stuck at home? Maybe they don't have the stuff that they need when they're at home. What do you guys think about us going back to possibly remote? I mean, we're making the right decision.
It's really hard to say. Like, it's you at least you have something to base your experience off of, that they've already been remote.
Yeah.
So it might be easy to fall back into that. Absolutely, the kids are missing out on experiences going to school. They're missing out on their friends. That you need those relationships.
Yeah.
And you don't get those back. That's a one-time thing.
Right.
You only get to be in 3rd grade one time.
Right. So
can't miss out your 3rd grades, bro. Those are the days I remember the most in my life. Man, my years in 3rd grade were the best I can remember in school. My first kiss.
Was it from going from 5th grade to 6th grade? Like elementary to middle?
All the grades.
Elementary to middle school?
Yeah.
Middle school to high school? 2nd grade? Kindergarten?
That's true, though.
No, I mean, you miss out on those experiences.
Yeah.
So, and the friendships and the camaraderie and all that stuff that you build in those schools. And, I don't know. It's hard to really say if it's going to benefit.
Yeah.
Obviously, COVID is here. It's around.
It's not going away.
It's almost as bad. It's probably the number of cases is higher now than it was.
It is.
Oh yeah, 2 years ago.
Daily, we hit 20,000 in Ohio now twice. We were 19,000 today, so it went down 1,000. But like we've been at 20,000 2 of the last 3 days. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I mean, it's here.
With that to that point, because that's kind of where I'm at. It's the grants as far as it's here, it's not going away. To me, outside of if you eliminate the hospital aspect, which you can't eliminate, but for the sake of just argument, I almost feel like this is just like going to be the next flu. It's what strain do we have this year? You're either going to choose to get the flu shot or you're not going to get the flu shot. It's going to keep evolving. Like, is COVID ever going to be gone?
It's going to do that. But the thing that they're facing right now, that medicine is facing right now, is that they have to get it down to a level where it is manageable. Enough, like the flu is right now. Like,
right.
We still take the flu seriously, but if anybody gets the flu, we don't go, oh, it's a life sentence. We're done.
Right.
COVID hasn't quite reached that yet. If anything, now we're more worried about it now than we've ever been.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna fix things.
Yeah.
But I wanted to piggyback off what you said though. The intelligence thing is what I kind of worry about. So like if kids aren't learning the things that they need to, school is all about building blocks of a future. It's about what you know somewhere down the line. You learn something in school that you're going to take to a craft somewhere in your life. And I feel like if kids are going to constantly miss out on those experiences and that hands-on knowledge, I think it's going to appear somewhere else later in life. And that's going to be very judgmental, not only with them, but with our nation as a whole, as far as how we get back on the work block. The Asian territories right now are the hardest workers in the world because they put everything toward, hours a day, intelligence, everything, school around the clock, around the year. How do we compete with that with our own country? And when you have years like this, I don't feel like we can get on that right track.
Right.
That's the negative side of this. But to also kind of answer what you said, it's like, it's obviously the right move in my opinion. As of right now, like we've got kids that are going to the ER, like a lot of that 20,000 numbers, I think they said like more than a quarter of it is children right now. And even one kid, that's unacceptable. So like, to me, if that can be prevented, it sucks to say it, but we got to do what we have to do to prevent that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not against the remote learning thing. I guess it more so just is a shitty situation to be in again. Absolutely. I mean, for all parties involved, for teachers that have to try and manage it, for the parents who have to try and figure out their kids being at home to try and learn. And I don't even know what you do in a situation where you're working and I mean, your kid's old enough to be at home. Otherwise, what do you do?
Yeah.
And then for these kids' education, it is very important. They're the ones that are mostly being hurt by it. And outside of missing third grade and learning at which cube goes in what hole, there are important things that these kids learn.
I hope you learned that before third grade.
I don't remember.
You can learn that a little later.
What
though.
did you learn in third grade? I don't remember. But to your point about the China thing, or like the Asian culture as a whole, they take education very, very seriously. Our education system has needed an overhaul for a very long time. The curriculum, we talked about this, I think, in pretty in depth with Jesse one time about who creates the curriculums and who's in charge of what we teach. And there's something that in this country, and it goes for all facets, where we are so stuck in the past and we do not want to change, and we don't evolve our learnings or our teachings or the way that we raise our kids, and racism and all that. Like, we cannot get out of the years before us where we felt like it was the greatest time in this country, and our education system is not evolving. We're teaching stuff that's irrelevant, or we could be teaching things that are life skills and things that are actually going to benefit kids.
Writing
after
code,
school.
Computers is the future.
Yeah.
I mean, it's here now, but it's the future. These kids should be learning how to code programs and
life skills.
Yeah,
that you would. We focus so much on the freaking 4-year college model because that's an income generator or
state testing.
Yeah, put trade type school type stuff into basic education, writing code, learning things about finances, learning how to do things with vehicles, just stuff that you're going to use outside of school. That's going to be a general life skill that's going to benefit you when you get out of school, that you're actually prepared to live your life. Right now, you graduate high school and everything that you fucking learned is completely irrelevant to that next day in your life. You're not going to think about your chemistry class. You're not going to think about your fucking biology or your math or your algebra. None of that you care about.
Unless that's
a fucking
the degree.
computer in your phone.
Yeah.
You don't need that stupid shit. Give life skills.
Here's the answer: laziness. And it's not one that people are going to like, but it's one that, because these generations after generations look at it and go, it's what's worked.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
is it working.
It's what works enough to them. Yeah. It's enough to let these kids skate by and to not even be bothered with the problem themselves. It's the same. You can look at it with anything. Look at it with our politics. Even it's always been either the right or the left. It's never been that third option. Yeah. It's always the same thing, because
that's the issue. That's what I'm saying. We're stuck in the past. We cannot evolve.
But it's what they've known for so long, and that's why they're so afraid to deviate from that expectation that they won't break it all down and hopefully search for better. They're just good enough here to feel acceptable.
I think we might be to a breaking point soon. I think with our generation, we grew up between both kind of the super technological age and the generation that was before technology really took over. We were kind of that middle ground, and I think we kind of see both sides of it, where we're maybe going to be able to, as people in our generation, as we get older and we start getting into politics and start writing new laws and things like that, maybe it will be able to make some difference. But we got to just break out of the past. We got to break out of these things that we're just, like you said, just skating by because it works.
Yeah.
It's not working. Like, there's basic things that we need to be teaching in school that shouldn't change. Learning how to read and numbers and the alphabet and that general bullshit that you need, because you can tell when people. This is going to sound bad. I'm sorry if you're homeschooled, but like I've known friends very closely who were homeschooled, and you could kind of see the difference in the way that they learned and things that they knew.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
In a negative way.
A negative.
Like, it was less. The education wasn't as good, I guess, which when Dan was
professional,
not as professional, you're trying to do it on your own, or your parents are trying to facilitate your education.
It's ultimately inferior.
Yeah, inferior. Exactly. So there's definitely a place for in-class learning. But we just got to figure out how do we evolve this? How do we evolve it into the day and age of today? And where are these kids that are in school now are going to be when they get to our age and they're in the working class? What is the world going to look like then?
Yeah.
What should we be teaching them now to prepare them for that?
Yeah. And I mean,
it's so frustrating.
It rubs off on a generation too. I think that's why our current generation gets a lot of soft emphasis behind it. Like, a lot of people view our generation as soft, and no matter what side of the argument of the wages you're on, like, they look at that as, well, that's, kids complaining. They're always out, wanting more and everything that they don't deserve and all that.
Yeah.
I think education has a hand in that argument. I really do. As dumb as that sounds, I feel like if you're brought along a certain way for the rest of your life, you're going to expect a certain way out for the rest of your life. And learning these elements are things that, you know, are your building blocks of your character as you get older. And I feel like without them, you know, this COVID thing is going to take a big beating on our current generation coming up.
Yeah.
I wanted to also kind of focus on just the concept itself of like basically homeschooling and remote learning and all that.
Yeah.
How, as somebody who has like remote ADD when they were in school, like, how do you focus on a computer screen for that long? Man. It's tough enough when you're in a room listening to somebody talking for an hour, you know, at a time here, and they're giving these long-winded lectures.
Yep.
How do you do that when you're at home, when you see everything, when you see a poster or your music there, you want to grab your phone or everything, you have all these freedoms.
All these distractions.
How does a kid do that when they're looking at a screen, when there's no justice behind their actions? So if they grab their phone, there's no one that sits there and go, I'm gonna take that phone, or I'll give it back to you at the end of class or something like that.
What I don't want to say punishment, it's the wrong word. You're not punishing them.
But it is.
But like what do you have there to reprimand them, to keep them engaged? You know, like I myself in school was I had to be present. I was not a go home and study and read a book to learn. Like I needed to be there, have my teacher present the information, talk about it in class.
Engaged.
Yeah, I was an engaged learner. I'm not a self-learner. I learned best that way. So I can't imagine doing this from home. And it ultimately falls on the teacher, which is why I respect both sides. As a kid, you're very impressionable. You're young. You don't really care. So it's hard for you to be engaged. And it's that teacher that we rely on to do that. But now you've got a teacher who's got to be at home, or if they're doing a remote from their office and the kids are home, I don't know. You got a laptop screen with 32 people on, and you're supposed to monitor what they're all doing at every time of the day. You can't. And then the numbers and things fall on them. You know, they're scored on what their classrooms do and their testing. That's how their job is held accountable.
Yeah.
What do you do to entice these kids to want to be engaged and to want to care? You know, because
some kids
I didn't care. I was forced to go to school, and
there's different types of learners.
Absolutely.
Some kids do because they just hate the hollowed halls of the class experience. They hate getting up every day and doing that. They like the comfort of being at home, and I can see that for some.
But there's those that want to learn too.
Sure,
like those are the ones that are easy to capture. It's the ones that
I'd say you're gonna
want to be monitored.
Yeah, you probably have what, a 30% of your classroom's like engaged and wants to be present and really wants to learn and care, and the other 70% is like.
And that's, as a teacher, you got to really stretch your capabilities to keep everyone involved.
Yeah, your extended reach, which now isn't even so much across to a seat; it's through a computer screen and, you know, to their home.
Some people probably think that the remote situation is easier for a teacher because they're home, and I think it's far opposite.
I don't see how it could be.
Because I imagine
make a bigger difference standing next to that.
Exactly.
As they're drawing on their tabletop versus.
You got to think about in the classroom, you're present and you can do your job and you can oversee everything. And they're engaged because they have to be there. The second you take them out of that classroom, you put them at home, now you almost have to put on a performance to get them to be engaged. So you have to create that much extra work to get to them through that screen and make them want to be engaged with what you're doing. And that just creates more stress and more work. And I don't know, man.
I mean, how do you do it? This would be a good week to have Jesse on, you know, because like, to me, it's like, how would you on a computer screen get through to underprivileged youths,
right?
You know, that he teaches to. That's an even tougher case. I mean, you talk about kids that don't want to be there to begin with in class. Now you're putting them on a screen that a lot of them don't have, to be honest.
When I started my new job, I started an entirely new job remote. You know, I work from home, but the entire training process was from home.
Yeah.
So I'm learning something completely new, and all of my training is done through a computer screen and then through Zooms and through online learning. Okay. Thankfully, I was already sort of familiar in the field, but I saw people just failing. I mean, people that would quit through the training because they just couldn't grasp the information. And I saw grown adults unable to learn in this situation. And now we're putting it, and now we got kids who we expect them to be able to be successful in the same type of thing. And this is someone, that's learning a job that's going to be their income. Like this isn't like going to school for fun. Like this is, and you're not able to succeed. The process is just, we just got to find a better solution. We got to ultimately figure out how do we make this work to keep kids in the classroom, to keep them learning, to take the pressure off the teachers, and find success. So
I almost wonder, like, if the next few years they're going to base it on basically how prominent is COVID over the next few years. So like if we're still dealing with this by, we'll say 2025, do they look at it and they go, maybe we make winter months the new summer vacation and we just make kids be at school through the summer months? Because it seems like that's when COVID is the most prominent, during the holidays, when they're all indoors together, when they're spending it with families and, you know, legions of their family.
I like that idea way better, because you can go to Disney in the winter, but you can't go to Disney in the summer.
Well, there you go. But no, but seriously, I wonder though, if they make like maybe November, December, and January they're off, and then everything else it's straight through. I
don't like that idea for Disney either. It means it's going to be busier in the winter.
Oh, that is true. Now it's going to be fucked the opposite time.
Guys, I'm trying to make a school plan here. I don't care about your Disney
I'm selfish.
trips.
Sorry, I got sidetracked.
You're out of school, okay? Go to Disney whenever you want.
We got people who are teachers that can't go because of never. Anyways,
do you hear what I said?
I get your point.
But basically, it's just like, I wonder if they explore different, you know, because already this is happening in like the Midwest and everything. Like they start school earlier, which means they get out earlier. I think they don't even get into May in the Midwest, like around Kansas and Oklahoma and places like that. So I wonder if like they even could do that. Like, let's start the school year, we'll say in February or March.
Just in like Midwest schools, like where it's cold. Because I mean, is winter cold a thing in like California or like Texas where it's warm?
Yeah,
I thought it's just a thing.
Well,
like
COVID is
cold weather.
No, COVID is here. Yeah. I mean, COVID's everywhere.
Yeah,
like
to me, like I think it ramps up like in our area, because then it's like we've already got the flu. Because going into the winter months is cold season because of the winter.
It is worse here in Michigan right now, more than anywhere, because obviously the cold keeps people in, and you know, when you're with your families around the holidays, it's going to be a lot worse. But it is just it's resonant out there in California too. I mean, it's just the holidays brings people together. It's the way it is. It's almost like you either have to change the scholastic calendar, or you have to wipe out holidays as a whole.
Yeah,
like, because we just can't have them in the wintertime, man. They're just too much.
Yeah. Just get rid of all of the holidays.
It's a stupid idea, I get it, but like, if you think about it, what's the thing that's been ramping this up? It has to be the holidays. We're all getting together with our families, and that's what's happened at my work.
Responsibility.
It's just people just saying, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna get together, and if we get sick, we get sick, and that's it. People just don't care. I think it's to the point now. Some people just don't give a fuck, or they don't believe in it, and that's one thing. But I think like with this year, a lot of people were like, fuck it, we already missed last year. Like, we're getting together as a family this year. It is what it is. Like, people are just over it. But because of that, you've got groups of people getting together who are then, you know, you get 15 people together, and 2 of them get it, and then now they go and pass it off to other people, and you create that effect.
15 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 120.
I was gonna say, remember when it was 3 Americans flew into California, test positive for this, and now millions.
Because the thing is,
millions.
When you hit that, when it's at 3, when you hit that and you lock those 3 down and you keep them away from everybody else, you're done. You never hear this again. From that moment on, as I said, the number 1 rule in all this is shut down travel. Had to be shut down. Had to be. You can travel domestically into the country and to the country here and there, but no foreign travel. Absolutely not.
Remember when we talked about stocks and stuff on here, and I said I bought all that travel stock because it all shit the bed because of COVID, and my stocks were skyrocketing. Yeah, not so much anymore because we're getting shit the bed again. So all my stocks
I'm gonna start buying now.
My Royal Caribbean stock was fucking skyrocketing, and then that freaking Royal Caribbean cruise ship is stranded right now with like 50 some people on it with COVID.
But like Dan said, why wouldn't you buy it now though? And
I'm saying I already bought it. Now's a great time to buy.
Yeah,
but I had already bought
a
year or so ago when it was crashed, and because the COVID was going away and people were traveling again, my stock started going up, and now fucking shit's popping off again. I mean, what did we think was going to happen though? We delayed cruising until like September. We kept pushing it off. They can't start till July. They can't start till August. They can't start till September. And then everyone started going on cruises, and now there's like 5-6 ships
Stranded.
that are stranded with
Yep.
with mass COVID cases on them, and they won't let them back. It's like that documentary. What was it? The Last Cruise.
I was
or
just
like-
about to watch. I was
It's
say that
good. Have you watched it?
HBO is so
It
good,
was
dude.
good.
Their documentaries, HBO, Netflix gets a lot of credit for their documentaries, but HBO is hitting on a whole other level
Yeah.
too. Like that one that you mentioned there,
Mhm.
amazing. The footage that they had
Wild.
on board, phenomenal. The guests, the interviews, all that, out of this world.
It's wild to me though. I mean, I have a buddy who's going on a trip next week. They're going to like Jamaica or something, and they don't have to test it all to go there, but coming
Wow.
back they have to. I'm like, bro, you're gonna get stuck there.
Yeah,
I'm like, you are absolutely gonna get stuck.
wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, it's just a mess.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go now.
He's real nervous now. He's like, we already paid for it. There's no refund policy. He's like, we're gonna go. He's like, but man, if I get stuck there, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, you stay stranded until you test negative. I guess you get an extended vacation. figure it out.
Enjoy Jamaica.
You know, at least he's going somewhere nice.
I don't know, man. I think for future years though, like if this pops into winter 2022 next year, like we're still doing this next year, I think we have to explore the holidays like we would, an emergency. We have to look at it and go like, we know people are going to get together here. We have to prepare for that.
Why haven't we done that already?
That's what I'm wondering
That's
too.
the thing. It's
1 year
this
should be-
accountability, holding the accountability on people. Like if you're shutting stuff down,
Yeah.
stay home.
Yeah.
2 weeks. Don't do anything. Don't leave. Let whatever it is that's out there run its course
Yeah.
for 2 weeks.
I think the issue at this point is it's so far gone because we dropped the ball so poorly off the rip that now trying to go back on anything,
Well, because
it's just gonna be fucking.
they tried
chaos.
to get you with fear.
Yeah, they handled
went-
it poorly.
They went about things the wrong way,
Yep.
and now people don't trust.
Can you imagine if now Biden tried to come out and said we're going on a 1 month complete shutdown and businesses have to close again and restaurants can have to close at this time? If you try to do that again now, bro, it'd be chaos. It
No,
was
it's
bad.
too far
before.
gone.
That's what I'm saying. We're fucked at this point.
Yeah.
Like with the shutdown, the full shutdown mandate, like we should have done, like you and Jesse both were real on board with, which I'm not disagreeing with, but you guys like had pushed it.
Yeah.
If it got done initially,
When there was like less than 100 cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
but now to try and institute that, there's no way.
Yeah.
It would be a disaster.
Yeah. Well, that's why like they've asked DeWine, our governor, about that as far as, are you going to look at shutdowns? Are you going to look at mask mandates again? He says absolutely not, which is strange when you think about it, because we had mask mandates when it was half as bad as it is
Yep.
now, but it's twice as bad now than it's ever been,
Yep.
ever in this 2-year span.
Right.
And he won't even think about it. That's a man who is fighting to be revoted back in.
I was in Columbus,
Yeah.
and every indoor location had signs up saying, according to CDC guidelines, they were mandating mask wearing.
Oh, really?
However, saw quite a few people without masks on.
Yeah.
Even workers at some of these establishments.
You sure it wasn't recommend? We
No,
recommend
it was mandated.
you?
Like going into a restaurant,
Yeah.
until you sit down, you had to have a mask on.
Yeah,
We were wearing it everywhere we went.
I'd
Had
be
to.
fine with it.
Here's my thing. I don't care. If we have to put masks on again,
Me too.
especially during the winter. Look, one, it keeps my face warm, and two, if it's going to help minimize things for a couple months throughout the year, if I have to wear a mask during flu season or during peak cold season or whatever, we got to do something to help. I don't care about the shutting down. I don't care about quarantining people or any of that mandates. People make the choice of what they want to do as far as getting a vaccine, not get a vaccine, whatever. The problem is where it lies with the healthcare workers. That's the issue at this point.
Yeah.
You got these people that are just going through absolute hell, maxed out, nowhere for people to go, people getting kicked out of the hospital because they don't have anywhere to put them.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the main issue. I feel for the people in that industry that have to try and manage this and who really are carrying the weight of it all and getting nothing for it.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing. How do we fix that?
Mhm.
Outside of that, what people do is their own fucking choice, but it almost needs to be. I mean, I know we can't implement this and this is going to come off wrong, and it was part of that poll I did a little while ago, but it's almost like, look, if you get sick and you weren't vaccinated, look, there ain't a bed for you. Like that's wrong, and I don't truly believe that, but it's like, what do we do to entice people? I know Chris is like, don't pan to me because I'm all about that.
I'm looking right at you because the last time that we talked about this,
I know. It's like that's such an awful, shitty take. But what do we do? You know, what do we do at this point?
you have one bed and two patients who are both with COVID. One is vaccinated and one isn't. Who should get the bed?
I know. Technically, you should say the person that's not vaccinated because they're at higher risk of probably dying. But that's the thing, bro. We're in such a fucked up situation. How do we fix this?
You give it to the person who doesn't have it vaccinated. That's a way out every single.
We're in a fucked up situation, bro. I don't know how we fix it. I don't think anybody does. But we got to find a resolution to that specific workforce.
Yeah.
You know, we're offering. There's this. It's to add insult to injury. You've got all of these jobs that are now offering tons of money to come work there. And you're making more than the healthcare workers who are fucking on the front line working crazy hours.
What did I hear?
Taco Bell, either $22 an hour for Taco Bell. $22 an hour.
There was a bread company
Holy shit.
that had a job fair and was offering $30 to $40 an hour for drivers, like depending on CDL classes and whatnot. $30 to $40 an hour. They had 0 people show up.
So that's to me
It's insane.
That's not a money thing then.
No, people just don't want to work.
Yeah, they just that to me. I'm like, once that's happened, you can't make that excuse again.
Yeah. That's where we had that conversation.
Oh God,
we had that conversation not long ago where we just talked about we talked about partially why people aren't going back, and it's just that you realize how unhappy you were. You know, you had that time off work paid away from the stresses and awfulness of the 9 to 5 grind. And you start to appreciate the time that you have, you know, so then it makes it hard to,
listen to what he's saying. He's being very prophetic right now.
No, but then it makes you realize, you know, so like, I get that not wanting to, making it hard to go back and step back into that being miserable and unhappy, you know, but there comes a point where you unfortunately you have to.
You're right.
But
that's the thing I'm struggling with myself is what do I want to do? What do I want to get back into? Because my next move into whatever career, job, whatever, is something that I want to stick with. I want to
long haul career,
and I want to have fun doing it. I want to find something that I love, and get into that. Now, is it going to pay me what I feel I deserve and want and need? Probably not.
Yeah,
not at this point.
That's the hard thing is you have to find that balance between a livable wage and doing something that you're not going to be miserable doing, you know? And people always say everyone's guilty of it at some point. Everyone wants to do something they love. I don't think you ever going to love your job. It's why you're paid to be there. I don't think anybody has a job where they truly say, man, I love going to work every single day. You know, maybe a musician or something. That's got to be a fucking fun job.
I was cool with my job before the pandemic.
Yeah.
I just hate getting up every day.
You probably don't hate it now. Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't hate my job by any means,
Mhm.
but I'm also not like jazzed up every day. Like, man, I can't wait to fucking log on to work today. It's the best time of my life. It's a job. I make decent money. It gets me through the day and it lets me do the things I enjoy. That's what matters. Finding that balance though of what you want to do, where you know you're going to spend 40 to 50 hours a week doing that and making money that allows you to live within your means is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And to find that when you've taken the opportunity to have a breakaway and realize that you need to be happy, it's a big decision to go back and it's not something to rush into.
Right.
So I get people that are taking that time away and who have taken that break over the last year to be away from work and to find themselves and whatever. I get it. I was kind of bitter about it for a while. And there's certain situations where I still am. There are people that take advantage of it like everything.
Yeah.
Do
but
you
there
hate me?
No, I respect it. Honestly, I respect finding the right fit, you know.
Right.
It's just the healthcare work situation. I just don't get. I don't get the fix. You know, what do we truly do as a government? We have to take it out of our hands. You know, unfortunately, we have to take it out of our hands, and then the government has to step in. And we might not be happy with them.
And
about
when you
it.
say that, that's when half the country goes, "Oh!"
But that's what I mean. At this point, it's so far gone that if we try to do anything, it's going to be a disaster. We've created so much divide in the way situations were handled that when it was Trump,
Garden to help out
are
with
happening in hospitals.
Yeah.
Because what's dangerous is if you're dealing with people who can't address that there's a problem to begin with, they don't care how far it goes.
Absolutely.
Because to them, they don't see a problem. So to them, it's just normal everyday life. That's a very dangerous philosophy on all aspects of life.
Yeah, man. This is never ending. This is going to be a part of history. You know, we're going to be what's being taught to kids not long in the future.
It's
you
what
know?
not to do.
They're going to have made to motivate conversation in there as a reference. And yes, there's our logo and website if you'd like to.
I don't
listen to
have
the show.
one on my forehead.
Anyhow, I thought Let's Get Social was going to be a non-segment.
I was going to say there's 2 bullet points there, and
we talked for a while.
that was an hour.
COVID gets me all riled up.
I know.
People rights, human rights, and just COVID and just enjoying yourselves.
Randy.
Let's get into sports.
Let's talk sports, man. You guys want to do some locker room?
No. Anyway,
we got a couple of things we got to talk about in sports. You know, it's not a super exciting segment without Jess Young from Sports Illustrated, but there are a couple of things I would like to discuss. So we're going to flip it over to the wide world of sports, and Daniel's going to go to the bathroom.
Swung on right to deep left field. It hits. 45, 40,
Hands up.
William run. 20, 50. Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the.
This is locker room talk.
Yeah. So sports talk.
How about the Cowboys?
We got a couple big things with sports. Honestly, it's kind of a somber locker room talk for us this week. We'll start it off notably. This name is synonymous with football as the acronym NFL. Honestly, I mean, when you think of John Madden, you think football. I think honestly, probably anyone in the world, you know, whether it's U.S. or overseas, if you hear the name Madden, I mean, you think of football.
Change sports gaming.
I mean, absolutely.
It's time to put his face back on the cover.
He needs to be on next year's.
Seriously.
Next year's. He should. They should do a special edition Madden game. So he was in his 80s, I think.
85. Yeah.
So John Madden passed away. I think it's been 2 days ago now. It didn't say, I think, specifically if it was just old age or if he was sick or anything, but I mean, it's a detrimental loss to the sports community, obviously his family and friends and things like that, but just as a whole, man, I mean, that one is a big deal. Growing up, I mean, as a kid, like Chris said, if you played video games, if you played a sports video game as far as football, it was Madden. Everyone couldn't wait for the next Madden to come out. If you were an athlete, football. Yeah, you wanted to be on the cover of Madden as an athlete. Well, maybe not, because there's the Madden curse, but regardless, the dude's name is huge in the industry. It's a big loss. A very sad. My brother shared the Madden skit. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, Frank Caliendo.
Yeah, really funny.
He also hosted an episode of SNL in the 80s, the early 80s.
Yeah.
John Madden was the host, and he did good on that too.
Yeah. The voice,
the
look. I mean, he's just an icon. I mean, you just know that guy.
It's funny because there's so many different areas of his life that like you could pay tribute to. So obviously the games are probably the first thing that people bring up in their mind, because like he revolutionized sports games as a whole. The Madden games brought in a new era for so many other games like NBA games and baseball and all that. But to me, like, you also got to look at his career as a broadcast analyst, you know, with Pat Summerall. He did the games for Fox News in the 90s, early 2000s. And then when he was the coach of the Raiders in 1980s, early 80s, won a Super Bowl with them in 82. And the thing that's interesting about it is at the time he was his offensive coordinator too. So he was the coach and he was the offensive coordinator, which at that time was thought of to unheard of completely. And he, you know, took his playbook and he revolutionized a lot of plays that people and teams still use today. Like he totally changed the landscapes for the way people look at coaches and how they view them as a pivotal component to the game itself. And we have him to thank for a lot of the aspects, the way that the game is played and the way it's taught today.
Yep. Yeah, it's a big loss. It's very sad. It's one of those names, you know, you grow up with it. You know, it's not. It's one of those. We don't know the guy personally. You know, there's no connection to him, but it's almost like losing a friend. You know, like it's something. In our era, video games were so big. You know, we grew up when video games became a thing, really. You know, like before, my first video game system was Nintendo, and really before that, you had like Atari and maybe like one other like joysticky game. You know, like that was it. That was video games. So we are the generation of that.
Yeah.
So we grew up with him. You know, and it's crazy to think about that. And as they continue to release Madden games and carry on his legacy, you know, we will have him and live through him that way. But just wild to see. It's like you losing Kobe. Kobe to me was a lot larger loss and hit me more personally. But just with that generational growing up with the name, I think Madden is there with that as far as
1990 was the first Madden football game.
Yeah. So I mean,
I have 93 on Super Nintendo still.
Look at that. I mean, I've got games in that box over there. Like I think one of the first Maddens, you know, Super Nintendo Maddens.
Yeah.
I mean,
they were so like you look at them now and it's just so awful.
2000 was the last time he was on the cover.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's time to put him back
so
on.
We've had 22 years.
Yeah.
And let's talk about his biggest win ever. When he helped Rick Moranis and Becky O'Shea defeat the Little Cowboys in Little Giants with the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Phenomenal.
Yep.
They had the antacid tabs, the foaming tabs up.
This is what I call intimidation.
Bro, what a fucking classic movie. I had a crush on that girl.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen her today? Shauna Waldron?
No, she's cute.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oof.
I had a huge crush on her because I was about the same age range as when like them in that movie when it came out.
95, I think it came out. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I like her. But yeah, so Madden passing, big thing in this week and in sports and everything. So his legacy will carry on. It's a name that will be listened and heard for a long time and known.
This was a pretty cool Instagram post.
Oh wow, all the covers.
With all the covers of the Madden games.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's it on? What was it shared on? What page?
This one I saw it's on Boston Sports Boxing 22.
Oh, they're just trying.
Never heard of it.
They're trying to get some likes.
Somebody else posted it, but that's the
the
one I saw.
John Madden.
Crazy.
We'll be thinking of you, sir. Another big thing this week is, to me, no disrespect, probably equally as sad as John Madden's passing is going to be the end of Big Ben. The last game.
The era is over.
I'm going to cry Monday. I'm just going to put that out there now. I will cry on Monday. 17 years.
Yeah.
At the helm of the Steelers.
04. Yep.
He's pretty much officially at this point, unofficially come out and said,
yeah, what do you say? Like
it's all roads are looking like or leading to
this being it.
This will be his last game. I'm gonna tear up right now, bro. It's weird.
Yeah.
17. I mean, look, I always joke like it's just fucking football, but like when you grow up, like that's it. I mean, 17 years is a long time. Before that, like I followed the Steelers because I've jokes aside, I've always been a Steelers fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I started watching football, that was the team I picked. Because I was born there. You didn't know any different. I'm like, well, what team am I going to be a fan of? I didn't know any of the players. You pick the team where you grew up with or you live. So I picked the Steelers. I always followed them. I was a huge Penguins fan.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers have been my team for as long as I can remember. I'm the farthest thing from a bandwagon fan. It's just not who I am. Now, am I the biggest fan? I can name every player? No, fuck no.
You couldn't be anyway, because no offense, they're not a great team this year. So
well, that's true.
So,
but it's one of those things. People are like, you live in Ohio. Well, because I was born there, and it's just a team I picked as a kid, and I picked it, and I
wasn't born there, but it was the team that I picked back in the 90s.
Yes. You don't have to be born there, but you pick a team that you like for whatever reason. You like the colors, you like the jersey. There's one player you like, and you follow them. And that's
30 years of being a fan of the team isn't enough for me to be a fan of the team.
Right.
And the thing is, they were good in the 90s for a couple years, but they weren't great. They didn't win a Super Bowl in the 90s. They went to one and they lost to the Dallas Cowboys, but they weren't like the elite team ever in the 90s.
Yeah. So I mean, whatever it might be. I mean, it's the team I've known. It's the guy I've known to go out and watch every week.
Yeah.
And it's sad to see that he's no longer going to be playing. But then also I look at it like I try and when these types of things
You're just afraid of Mason Rudolph being at the helm.
Well, I am afraid of that.
I would be.
But no, when things like this happen, I kind of visualize it from their side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like, man, the emotion that he's got to be going through, you know, like this has been his life. This is his everything. This is his passion. and to know going into Monday, like, that's it, you know, like, I'm going to walk off that field for the last time.
Why do you think I love For Love of the Game so much?
Yes, dude.
I think it's a great movie.
Absolutely.
That perfectly encapsulates everything that athletes go through when they can no longer play the game anymore.
It's wild to me, man. Like, it's just that's part of life. You know, you get older, there's things you no longer can do. And I think that aspect to me is just, it's just sad. You know, like we talked about earlier, you have one life, you know, he got to live his life doing something that he probably truly loved.
2 rings, 5th all time in passing yards. Yeah.
Hell of a career, man.
Yep.
And we'll see him unless, you know, something magical happens, which is still very possible. And we make it to the playoffs. They could potentially play again, but this is looking like his last game. It's wild.
Yeah, it's looking like, so as far as, can they win the division now? I think they can only get a wild card.
If they beat the Browns tomorrow and then the Browns beat the Bengals, I think we could still, and then we beat the Ravens, we could still
win the division,
make it in somehow.
Okay.
Everything has to align this week and next week for it to be possible.
Because I was going to say, maybe like, even if they make the playoffs as a wild card, obviously they wouldn't host a playoff game. So yeah,
they have to beat the Browns. We have to beat the Ravens, and the Browns have to beat the Bengals.
You have to root for the Browns next week.
I'm not rooting for them. I don't need the home game. I just want the playoff. I just want the better record, like I said from the start. I want last place said what to be the end of this season for Jesse Young. But yeah, so if you look, people love to hate the Steelers, especially in Ohio. I get it, but man, you can't deny the man's career. I'd say first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback.
Absolutely.
An amazing career. Dude broke mass amounts of records. Just number 5 in all-time passing yards, I think, right?
Yep.
So
big names ahead of him, like huge.
Yeah.
I mean, and you talk about that generation of quarterback like Manning, Brady, Roethlisberger, Breeze, you know, these were the guys that came from that big generation.
Yep.
And most of them are gone now with the exception of Brady.
Yep.
And Ben was kind of like that last gunslinger.
Him and Rodgers were right around the same time, I think, right?
Rodgers was 05. Yeah. 05 or 06. Yeah.
So like, I mean, but yeah, like when you think, we talked about it a little bit earlier on the way to the Funky Truckeria.
Nice plug.
That the longevity of himself, as you know, a lot of these quarterbacks that play for a team 3 years, 4 years, whatever, you know, they move on to a different team, they get traded, they don't last, whatever.
They're called Browns quarterbacks.
Exactly. But 17 years with the same team. I mean, it's a very impressive.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be interesting to see, outside of Daniel's joke with Rudolph, which I am not wanting to see. I don't think he's earned it or deserves it.
I don't think he will be, though. I think no matter what, either they're going to draft somebody or they're going to trade for somebody.
Yeah, they'll figure something out. I mean, they're with Ben being gone, they're going to have room to work with something. So hopefully something comes of it. But outside of that, it's just, I enjoy seeing him play, man. The dude was very pivotal in the sport. I think in that role specifically, just the way that he handled that game and tackled, quote unquote, that role. I mean, I don't know. I got high regards.
What was Ben's record his rookie year?
That would be 04. That was the year before they won this.
Like, what did the team do that year?
What was his starting QB record?
Hold on.
He had a record his QB year, his freshman year,
his rookie year.
Ooh.
I think he was good. I thought he was really good that year because that's what kind of turned it for him. I'm gonna go. Give me how many games?
13 games.
13, okay, because I knew he didn't play a full season. 10-3.
I'm gonna say he played how many games?
13 games.
13-3. He had 16 games, right?
I'm not good at math.
He said 13 games total.
He played 13.
He played 13.
Yes.
So I'm saying he won all. I'm saying he won all 13.
She said 13-0 though.
Yeah, 13-0.
Okay.
He won all 13 he played.
13-0. His rookie year.
Yeah, that's because I knew, like, after Tommy Maddox, dude, they were fucking looking for anything, and they brought him in. He was from Miami of Ohio. They drafted him in, and
I remember Maddox.
Maddox got hurt.
Garbage.
Game 2.
Yeah, hot garbage. And then I remember he was good, but I don't remember him being that good.
13-0, and he sat the last game of the season.
You want to know the difference?
Oh,
Ben went 13-0 his first season and continued on 17 years of success. Baker had a really good first year, and then he shit the fucking bed. Just putting it out there for Ron Unk specifically. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad for me to see as a Steelers fan. I think a lot of people, and just if you really love the game of football, can respect him and see the end of a very influential career. Hater of the Steelers or not. So
it's gonna be sad to see him go. For sure.
It's going to be rough, man. Monday's going to be rough for me. I hope we get the win so that I don't have to cry over losing and Ben leaving. But
let's go Steelers. Come out and kick ass for the big man.
You guys think they do? Think they do win?
Look, here's the thing. I think we've got a lot of benefits on our side. I think evenly matched. Look, we've already beat the Browns once. We beat them in their home.
Yeah.
So can we beat them? Absolutely.
And they're reeling right now. They're not looking good.
Now we've got a Baker that's not looking good. If Stefanski keeps him in, which I'm sure he's going to, that's to our benefit. We're playing at home, which is huge for us, and it's been last game, which is huge for us. I think we've got the benefits.
Please show up in the first half.
Yeah, seriously.
Dan just highlighted my key to the game. So the Steelers have to get off to a good run in this game. Yeah. They have to be the aggressor. They have to strike blood first.
Yeah. We've got two fairly decent defenses manning up. So the Browns defense overall pretty good. The running game is good. I think we're stacked pretty evenly, honestly, for the most part. Jokes aside, I think we've got the better quarterback. Ben's old and beat up, but
you do have the better quarterback.
Absolutely.
Baker hasn't been showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, Ben's obviously the better quarterback. In his age, you could argue.
I would still say right now.
But he's got the experience, especially in situations like this.
Yeah.
He's been playing decent for his current situation. He's injured as well as Baker. I think we have the leg up. I think we can pull it off, man. Winning at home on Monday Night Football. Ben's got a really good record with that. I think we can take this, man.
The offensive line's got to hold up.
Fuck, man, everything.
Because
he's been getting beat up.
Najee's got to run the ball. They need to push back that defensive line.
Yep.
Sorry, Chris. I'm ruining all of his points.
We think alike when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I have nothing to add. I was just going to say that line is going to be in for the fight of their life because the Browns are going to be hungry coming across that line, and they need to hold up and give Ben as much time as he can manage. You
get first downs.
Yeah,
hold the ball.
It's about getting off to a start. They've got to. I would like to see them jump out. Maybe 7-10 here and there.
I think it'll be really close, like we talked about. It's going to be a close scored game.
I think so too.
Maybe a field goal spread.
Here's what I want.
A win.
I want to win, but I want it to still be close. Not one possession at the end of the game close, but stay close.
Yeah.
Because the Steelers are notorious for it.
Yeah.
And Burrow knows how the AFC North teams are.
God, what a week he had.
And
Jesus.
You gotta freaking stick your foot on the throat and keep driving, keep scoring.
Yeah.
The Steelers are notorious for calming things back, gearing things back when they get a good lead.
And I think that's kind of the Browns' key to win is that the Browns, they have to fucking be aggressive. And like, if the Browns keep it close going into the fourth quarter, it's a dangerous game for them because they're known for blowing that lead and Pittsburgh's known for coming back on those deficits. So like, to me, the Browns, they're the ones that have to jump off 20-7 or, anything like that.
I'm nervous of the Browns team that we've seen before, which is the Browns team with something to prove.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it after OBJ left, and they wanted to prove they were fine without him,
Sure.
and they fucking played insane.
They'd love to ruin Ben's day.
Not even just that, coming off the awful game last week and all the shit Baker took, he wants to come out, regardless of who they're playing, and prove he's still got it, prove that he's not a fucking disaster of a quarterback. He needs this win. So I think both teams got something in it. I just hope the Steelers want it more.
If the Browns would have made that field goal in Green Bay and they would have won that game, the number 1 seed in the NFC would have been the Dallas Cowboys.
Sorry, man.
We have the advantage over the Packers.
The Packers going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I still think
Not
that.
the Cowboys?
No, Packers are. I would like to see Dallas go to the NFC Championship for the first time since 95.
You got it, bro. You got this.
I would like to.
That's mainly it for sports. One last shout out to our homie, the kid from Akron, LeBron James. Happy birthday, sir. 37?
Yep.
Today?
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to LeBron. He's no longer living down the street from us, but he'll always be from here. I'll respect him and the things that he does.
Kid from Akron.
Yeah, so happy birthday to him. Miles Garrett's birthday was yesterday. Shout out to Miles Garrett. And that's all we have from sports. We're going to kick it over to Christopher, the film freak, Kessinger.
All
we'll talk
right.
some movies, shows, box office. Things
All
like
right,
that.
all right.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down! Two, Steve, assemble!
He's the one and only movie magic master, the film freak, Christopher Kessinger.
1,776 reviews today.
Woo, boy, this guy.
And owner
That's it?
of over 6,000 movies.
That's it.
My man.
That's it.
Much respect. Check out the Film Freak review page on Facebook and thefilmfreak.com on the interwebs. What's new? What's hot? What's happening in Hollywood?
Guys, 2 days from 2022. Unreal. But we can't look to the future without looking back on the past first. Let's talk about 2021 as a whole. First of all, let's talk about some of the best trailers of 2021. Now, to anybody who doesn't know, the trailers is that little marketing clip for 2 to 3 minutes that plays at the beginning of movies for about 30 minutes that you get before the actual movie you're there to see. Trailers can be great sometimes in the form of, enticing you just enough without giving away plot points. Trailers can be bad when it comes to Marvel movies and they give away too much. So I basically wanted to ask the question to you guys as far as what were some of your favorite trailers of 2021? Doesn't matter how many you give me, but the only rule I had for this was that the movie itself doesn't have to come out in 2021, but the trailer should have been released in this year.
Got it.
I know what both of you are going to pick because it's on my list too. So I'm going to let you go ahead first. Ryan, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Batman.
Of course. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that off my list.
The Batman, dude. They've released numerous trailers, which all just
The
get
most
better and
recent
better.
one is
Bro, it looks insane.
Yeah.
I mentioned it on Facebook. This looks to rival the Dark Knight series, in my opinion. It looks like it could be a very close to that. I mean, Dark Knight, I think a lot of us can agree, is the best Batman series. They produce the best movies.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, I'd say, is arguably the best Batman.
First two are amazing. The third one's
Yeah, but overall, the series as a whole,
yeah.
this looks insane.
Yeah.
So just the anticipation in itself for this movie to come out next year, March
20th.
I've been very happy with the trailers that they've put out. They're not giving away too much, but they're releasing a little bit extra each time that's kind of drawing you in further to what we can expect.
Yeah.
Without blowing it like you aforementioned is Marvel.
Yeah. I mean, they do every time. I hate watching Marvel trailers for that reason.
They do. So for me, Batman, absolutely number one. As of right now, I don't know the list like you as far as what's coming out next year, but my most anticipated movie
Me too.
of 2022.
Me too.
And the trailer was fantastic. Dan, I don't know if I stole your thunder. I'm not great with trailers. Like, there's other ones that I was like hoping were going to be great and then was let down. So like for once I loved Batman.
That was just one of my 5. So I have
Batman.
4 others.
Yeah, I got a couple here. And one that I was surprised that got me the way it did was Sing 2. And I think I talked about it previously. It's just that trailer felt like a production. While
we watched it at the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm like, this is awesome.
Like they brought a stage play to life, like in this 3-minute clip.
Yeah, it was great. And then so that I have that on my list. Spider-Man No Way Home.
Good pick.
I put that on there because they did a little bit of what Marvel was known for, but they backtracked. Like they took out certain pieces.
Yeah. Which I think is okay.
And still, it led you to build up for this movie.
Yeah.
And I think they did a great job with that trailer and not divulging too much.
And with that trailer, while we knew the pieces going into it, we didn't know the story. We didn't know the structure to it. We didn't know what links these guys together. All we knew is that, okay, here's, Doctor Strange. He's casting the spell. He might be opening up this portal to these other worlds and all that. But we don't know, like, what's their business here when they get here? We don't know what their conflict is with the new Peter. We don't know all those elements, how it all mashes up together. Is it going to feel convoluted and too heavy-handed? We don't know any of this. You know, the trailers just kind of went breezy, and for Marvel, it was exceptional. It was an exceptional trailer for them. So I like that pick.
And then the last one is Secrets of Dumbledore.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes,
yeah.
That's a
Because
good one.
I mean, I'm more fond than we've talked before that
April next year.
The Fantastic Beasts series to me is way better than Harry Potter, and
because you haven't given it a chance.
Ooh,
Disregard that.
I have seen all the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Did you enjoy them?
I like the first one a lot. The second one,
okay. Anyways,
yeah.
Have you watched all the Harry Potter ones?
He hasn't watched any of them.
First two,
and
which
it's
was
awful.
Like 15 years ago.
It's awful, right?
You guys suck.
I wasn't too amazed.
Let's not turn this into a bash Harry Potter segment.
All right.
Talking about good things.
I'm excited to see that
fantastic one. Yeah,
I can't wait to see the evolution of that series.
I'm
and
one negative, just since you guys were showing all over the
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Being in it.
I'm disappointed with Johnny Depp being pulled.
Yeah, it's interesting because I felt like he was one of the parts of that previous film that I enjoyed enough of. The story was kind of hanging in the air for me, most of it. Yeah. I'm the guy that I don't like Ezra Miller. I don't like him as oh God, what role? And now I'm gonna draw a blank. I don't know. He plays the brother, like there's the brother and the sister. I can't remember their names though, but I don't like him. I feel like he's too eccentric for this franchise. It almost becomes a comedy, and I know it's lighthearted at times and all that, but
yeah,
it's almost too much of a comedy.
It's supposed to be a darker movie. I mean, a lot of the Harry Potter movies are there, especially as you get further, if you give it an opportunity, further into the series, they get dark. And I liked that about the Fantastic Beasts movies.
I wanted to slap the smile off of Harry Potter's face a few times.
The first and second one are not that great. You got to get past that first and second one.
Yeah.
But I was bummed they pulled
through him.
I know all this shit went on with him, but man, that dude is just an iconic actor. He takes on his role so well.
Radcliffe?
He needed that role.
Oh,
Johnny Depp.
Oh, Johnny Depp. Yeah, absolutely.
So
right.
But
there's no greater character actor. Yeah.
I agree with Dan though. I forgot about that. That's
Chris
a good
Pratt.
trailer.
There's no greater character actor than Johnny Depp.
Oh man.
That's my list.
Those are two.
And I had Batman on there too. So four of mine.
Yeah, Batman was obviously one of mine that was on top of my list.
And Dumbledore.
and Dumbledore was on my list.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen it once, to be honest. I haven't really memorized it yet. The Batman, particularly the first Batman trailer where they play Nirvana, Something in the Way. Oh my God, that teaser trailer is amazing.
It's gonna be a good soundtrack, man.
It reminds me so much of a David Fincher film, and I know that's what Matt Reeves is. Like Matt Reeves did The Accountant with Ben Affleck, so he makes like kind of these darker psychological dramas a lot, but like it looks so much like a David Fincher film, and like the way they've made the Riddler, he seems like a serial killer in this movie, very much one that's like the Zodiac killer a lot. And I've always been a huge fan of Robert Pattinson, so we don't even have to go there, but like he looks great, man. And I love this kind of still trying to figure it all out Batman. We've gotten Batman where he's a little older in his life. We've gotten the weathered Batman with Ben Affleck, but we don't really have Batman during his initial first few stages, his first few confrontations. And with so many enemies in this, from the Penguin to the Riddler to even the Catwoman kind of playing her hand, it makes you wonder if he's in over his head here. I've heard rumors that there might be a negative ending toward this movie, that like things might not go the way people expect them to. I'm all on board for this.
I like that.
I don't get, like, there's obviously some kind of tie that ties the Riddler and Batman together. I want to know what that is, and I'm all for whatever they want to throw at me. The look looks great. It's grimy. It's dark. It's rainy. Everything. Like you feel Gotham's greed, but you feel Gotham's torture too.
Yeah.
In the trailer
and stuff.
Yeah. So that's all I'll say about that.
That's all I gotta say about that.
That's all.
That Batmobile.
It's
dope. You don't like it?
No, I do.
Oh, okay.
I like that it's
like a flash. It looks like a fastback Mustang, kind of.
Yeah. It looks kind of like the 60s ones, in my opinion, like just the outline of it.
I like it. I think
I love the Michael Keaton Batmobile.
Yes.
That's like by far my favorite.
It is cool.
I did not like the
Tumbler.
The Tumbler.
I love the Tumbler
as a Batmobile. This one, how it's more car like just indestructible Buick Regal looking.
I did like that original Batman
Badass.
with the shield that would go into place and like go over the windshield and shit. So fucking dope,
he'd pull
man.
it down whenever he needed to.
That's so sick.
Yeah, I like that scene in that trailer that always moves me. Like I love the punching scene where he just keeps ripping on the dude because you don't normally expect that from Batman.
Yeah.
But the scene I love even more than that is when Penguin gets away from him and he goes, "Oh, I got you, and then you just see him come over this like fire. Like justice is going to get you no matter where you like. That's kind of the metaphorical instance with this image.
So good.
It's great. It's like Batman's a serial killer and he's just coming after him no matter what. Dune, great trailers.
Oh yeah.
So great. I went out and saw the movie. Oh wait,
this guy.
Dune gave nothing away. Like as far as textbook how you make a trailer, Dune had cryptic imagery. It had fantastical elements, the beautiful set designs. It showed all of the ensemble, which amazing, complete, one of the best ensemble casts of the year. It just relied on them to sell the movie, and boy did it ever. It was number one for 2 weeks, made over $100 million, and the trailers are exactly how you do these kind of films, these epics. You show the imagery, let the imagery tell the story, don't give away any plot points. I don't think there was barely any talking in the trailer, to be honest. Aside from that, Candyman was another one I had. This one, so I got this one a lot, obviously, because it was pushed back a couple of times from the COVID release it was supposed to face in 2020. And then it got moved to 2021. So I got this trailer a lot, but what I loved about it was they never showed Candyman in it.
Yeah.
Like, so this is obviously a reimagining. It's not a remake. It's actually a sequel that people don't realize until they watch the movie. The original Candyman is mentioned in this, the original events of it all.
Spoiler.
At Cabrini Green. It's been fucking months.
I didn't know that though, honestly. I thought it was a remake.
It's like a reimagining sequel is the way I'd base it. And they don't show Candyman until you're actually in the movie, and they don't show him in the movie until the actual last 10 minutes of the movie, which I love. They keep it minimal here and there. That might drive some people crazy. I think it builds the fear even longer until the absolute payoff, which it's marvelous when it happens. Great trailer there. Last Night in Soho, which was the new Edgar Wright film.
Very visual.
The movie, yes, a visual siesta, as I called it. Neons.
Nap.
Yeah.
Is that what a siesta is? A nap?
A siesta is like a buffet, a horticulture of tastes and vibrancies. It reminded me a lot of, like, obviously he pulls a lot from 70s horror films, like Giallo horror films. He pulls a lot from like Suspiria. There's a lot of tastes of in his neon colors. The trailer itself I felt was better than the movie. The movie I thought was good, but I didn't think the movie was great. A lot of people loved it. Jesse will vouch for it endlessly. I thought it was good. But I thought the trailer was better. And the way Edgar Wright uses music in his trailers is he incorporates them somewhere in the movies at all times. Part of the things that drive me nuts about trailers is you'll hear a song that you automatically associate with this character right away because it fits so beautifully, but then you don't hear it in the movie. Edgar Wright does every single song you hear in the trailer. He incorporates it somewhere in the movie. And I love that. It's a great personal touch. But yeah, Last Night in Soho, beautiful trailer, lots of style. Man knows how to cut a horror trailer, man. It's beautifully edited, nicely constructed, and leaves a lot on the table as far as, is this supernatural? Is this in the girl's head? You really don't know. You're uncertain even going into the final act of that movie. Solid enough. I would recommend it for an at-home watch. And then my final one is Lamb, A24's baby, which was the most polarizing film of the year for many people. I seem to be the only one who liked this movie. It's getting shit on left and right, and that's great. To me, that only enforces my love for it even more. What I loved about the trailer is it plays one of my favorite trailer songs of all time. And I say favorite because this song is used throughout an array of trailers over history, and that's God Only Knows from the Beach Boys. And what's interesting about it is the imagery kind of polarizes the song. The song is lighthearted and fluffy. It's about a relationship where the guy doesn't know what he'd do without the girl's love by his side. But yet we're seeing this imagery of like lambs being led to slaughter and, all these things of like the kind of like, lambs overlooking the village and like they're about to take over these humans' land here. Everything is polarizing from what the song's telling us, and it creates this beautiful kind of juxtaposition.
Yeah.
And that's basically what the movie is to a T, because it is everything that is advertised. It is a fucking madness of a good time. I enjoyed it. A lot of people hated it. tread carefully.
2 of those I have not seen.
Yeah. So aside from that, I wanted to also talk about Time magazine came out with some of the best video games of 2021, and I wanted to see if you guys had played any of these. Basically, it's a top 10 list, and it includes all consoles, so no polarizing there one way or the other, whether you're an Xbox or a PlayStation guy or gal. Number 10, It Takes Two.
Nope.
Nope.
Nobody.
Haven't heard of that.
Okay. We'll move on. Number 9, Sable.
Nope. Nope.
Okay, this is gonna be a great list. Number 8.
I'm not a big. I play video games
Okay.
so often, but I'm really particular to certain ones. So
Okay. Number 8, Deathloop.
I saw that at the store at
Okay.
Best Buy yesterday, and it intrigued me.
Okay.
But I didn't buy it.
We've at least heard of one of them.
Supposedly
It's a
it's
good start,
an
right?
assassin game based around eliminating 8 targets on an island. So
All right, Deathloop.
yeah, it sounds like House of the Dead to me.
If it's free to download, I'll play it.
Okay, I know you've heard of this game, Halo Infinite.
Yep.
That one's good.
I just got a headset for it, and
It's beautiful.
I spent a good probably 50 minutes to an hour
Mhm.
trying to defeat one fucking guy.
Damn, tough game.
It's a Halo game.
Yeah.
I'm doing the campaign mode. The online, the thing that it's driving me nuts is how to freaking drive that Warthog now.
Yeah.
It's so difficult
Change
because you
controls
gotta double joystick it,
Mm.
Double.
and
Dan's used to double joystick in it.
I'm not. That's why I have a hard time driving it.
More practice.
But yeah,
gotta go
I'm
skiing.
a big fan. I'm pissed that it took so long for them to come out
Yeah.
with that game.
Yeah,
Like it was supposed to release last year with the console, and they delayed it.
Delayed it.
because
Delayed
of
it.
COVID and everything going on.
I don't know. I
that
think
seems stupid for video games.
I
to do that,
think
'cause
I think
you're at home.
Microsoft launched the Xbox sooner than they were wanting to
Yep.
Mhm.
because Sony was dropping the PS5
Oh, there it is.
and Halo just wasn't ready
Ready.
for that launch.
Gotta save some of the good stuff for later, you know.
So,
Number 6, Returnal.
Nope.
PlayStation game. Number 5, Hitman 3.
Now I know Hitman games.
I know,
Mhm.
but
I didn't know Hitman 3 was out.
Mhm.
I've never played a Hitman. Have you played a Hitman?
I've played it.
I liked Hitman 2. I played it a little bit. The movie I wish would have been better, considering it stars my boy
Is that the
Timothy
Hitman's
Oliphant.
bodyguard's cousin's wife?
Is
Is that the movie?
It's got nothing to do with the
Oh.
show.
No.
I'm talking Timothy Oliphant, the Hitman, and then there was a sequel starring Ed Skrein, the villain from Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
He became the Hitman. Yeah, it was called Agent 47. It was dog shit. Both movies bad. I wish they were better. Number 4, Chicory, A Colorful Tale.
No, so I think some of these games,
These are the top 10 of the year.
some of these games are like those, I don't, 2D cartoony,
Yeah,
Like-
just not for us.
like RPG
I
type.
wonder how they
stuff.
base these. Are
That's
these,
what-
are these based off of how many downloads or sales, or like I wonder how they determine these being the best games? Because
I think it's just
It's
their
a
pick.
Dan's
It's
point.
Time Editors' picks. It's what they view as the best games.
Interesting.
Oh, they
Yeah.
must have boring lives.
Yeah.
Number 3, Forza Horizon 5.
Yes,
Fantastic.
I love racing games.
Okay. Yeah, it looks good. The visuals, like I'm
Beautiful.
looking at the
Oh, dude,
trailer right now.
And I had to I downloaded the game
Just so you could build a car.
just so I could put my car in it.
Oh, nice. Your actual car.
And then for the first time they released an update because I think it was like a 2015
Mhm.
was the newest STI. They released a car pack that had the 2019 STI in it.
Oh, damn.
I think it was the S209.
You just had to play.
And I
it.
just had to buy it.
Mhm.
I had to buy the car pack just for that car. It's all carbon fiber. It's great.
Well, so number 3, clearly your pick as of right now.
Probably number one
Yeah.
for me.
Number 2, Inscription.
Nope.
It was an Xbox game. And number 1, Metroid Dread.
I love Metroid games.
I
but
love-
I didn't play that one.
I
I
have
do
to-
too.
Is that what console's that on?
Nintendo
Yeah,
Direct.
I think Metroid's specific to Nintendo only, isn't it? Or did they
Yeah.
go cross-platform?
Yeah, it's Nintendo
Yeah, I
only.
think it's
Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan of Metroid games. Like Dan said, I play video games, but I'm very specific, and I usually play like just the same game over and over and over again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more into games that I can play online, so I can play with so you can play with your friends while they're home, or you can play with other people.
We got Modern Warfare Vanguard out.
Yeah. So
Nothing like
mostly
spawning
those
and
games.
dying, spawning and dying, spawning and dying.
It's fun as long as you can do it with people you know. I used to play a lot of Call of Duty with Jesse. It was a really good time. But yeah, I don't know a lot of those.
Yeah.
That's what 2, maybe 3 that I've heard of on the top 10.
Forza, Halo,
colorful
Fortnite.
Fortnite. I'm surprised Fortnite didn't make the list.
Nope.
Well, it wasn't new to 2021.
You guys better be careful. You're going to turn into me where you just forget about video games as a whole.
Dude, I play Halo. I play Call of Duty. I play sports games.
Mhm.
I can enjoy playing some Madden. They've got Madden 21.
Mm.
You know, I'll play like those games, but I don't get games are so expensive.
Yeah.
So unless you like really know the game or it's a franchise you follow, it's not like you're playing all these games. Like these being not even knowing these, I'm really interested in what the fuck they are.
Yeah, maybe try them out and see if any of them stand out to you.
Yeah.
See if Alicia will download that Metroid game.
Oh yeah.
I still love Metroid on like the
So
original
good.
Nintendo.
I mean, number 1.
Yeah.
Super Metroid, bro.
Number 1 though.
I always play as Metroid when I play Smash Brothers. Metroid's so dope.
Dude, Mario Party, the new one.
So fun.
The first Metroid.
Mario Golf is fun.
The first Metroid is the biggest twist in video game history.
Dude, Metroid was good. I remember when that first came out.
Mm-hmm.
Such a dope game.
Yeah, and they take off the helmet and it ends up being a girl.
Yeah,
Everybody's
everyone's
like,
what the fuck?
What?
Samus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was huge, bro.
Tough game too.
Well, that's like the idiots that think fucking Zelda is.
Oh yeah,
That's not even good.
Link is Zelda.
People are stupid.
I want to be Zelda.
Oh,
That's not Zelda.
That's not Zelda, sweetheart. Moving on to the movie world where I feel most
Movies.
comfortable.
Chris, you should always feel comfortable.
The feud. Well, I
Just be you.
I'm a little timid when it comes to music and video games. You guys with your games and shit. But the great documented feud between Dwayne Johnson, The Rock,
Yes.
and Vin Diesel has been brought to light once more with another chapter. This past summer, we know that Vin Diesel had basically begged The Rock to return to the Fast and Furious franchise for the last 2 movies. And in a rebuttal, finally, this week, The Rock has publicly refused Vin Diesel's invitation to appear in the Fast and Furious 10. And he also slammed Diesel for trying to use a public plea to persuade him to make a return to said franchise. Guys,
Bro.
is The Rock in the right here? It's a big franchise, or does he feel like he's bigger than this franchise that he can do whatever he wants?
So I got two things.
Okay.
One, I didn't know about this feud
Mm-hmm.
between the two of them.
People thought it was fake at first just for
Like, just-
publicity of
yeah.
the movie, but no, they really don't like each other.
So I didn't know about that. So the news of this was, well, news to me. I didn't know about it.
Brilliant.
Allow
But-
myself to introduce.
Yeah,
myself.
I read the story today and I was going to put it on the list and then I saw you already had it. So that I didn't know about. As far as him not doing the movie, right or wrong, I don't know. Was he in? What did he? Is it one of those things where he signed up to do X amount of movies and he's obligated to do it? It seems like I read the article briefly. He let Universal know he wasn't doing it. They were all in agreement and okay with the fact that he said he wasn't coming.
He's not
back.
breaking anything illegally or
so
anything.
in that
no.
point, I don't know if he doesn't want. Do we know? Does he not want to be a part of it because of Diesel, or does he not want to be a part of it because the franchise is kind of falling apart? I don't know.
I would say Diesel's probably the primary motivation,
Yeah.
but he is obligated to do a Hobbs and Shaw 2, though.
Yeah.
So he is going to do that.
So the thing that I find shitty, and he voiced this, and I feel he's absolutely in the right, was in what he stated about Diesel using social media to make it a personal thing,
Okay.
and the bringing up of his family and Paul Walker.
Mhm.
I think that was an absolute, like, kind of below the belt, shitty way to try and, like he said, manipulate him into feeling guilty,
You know,
like using those to try and make him feel guilty or
so you
look
think it's
bad
shitty on Diesel to do that?
on Diesel.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
can't make, you bring up a post saying like, I promised Paul Walker we were going to make 10 and we need you to be a part of this. And basically, like, if you don't come back, then you're like disrespecting
Spitting
his
on his
death and
spirit and
stuff. Like
legacy.
that's real shitty. And to put it out publicly to now he has to come out and defend himself about it.
Yeah.
I just think that was a lame fucking move.
Yeah.
If Universal's okay with it and they figure out making the movie without him, then so be it. Let him do what he wants to do.
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, Hobbs and Shaw was better than the last 3 Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
So to me, like, if he wants to go out, he has an obligation to make Hobbs and Shaw 2. That much is known. He's going to do that film. That film doesn't have Vin Diesel in it, though. It has Jason Statham. So, like, they get along well.
Rock seems like a stand-up dude. Like, that seems like the type of dude that's going to do what's right, and there's a reason he doesn't want to be a part of this.
Why would you want them on the same set anyway? Like, to me, I'm like, let's just have him be over here, have him be over here. They can do their things. Look, the Fast and Furious is still going to make a lot of money, even though the movies are fucking god-awful.
It's I can't with...
Yeah. I haven't seen the newest one yet.
Oh. You go from the first movie.
Fucking great movie.
Yeah, the first 2 I like.
Cars, a cop going undercover.
So good.
And people stealing VCR TV combos.
That's good enough for me.
Like,
so good.
How do you go from that to now being... I just don't like the direction that the whole series has gone.
Yeah.
They're using
awful.
that name. They're using that name and turning it into just action movies. It's nothing to do with the Fast and the Furious.
No, they put some cool cars in there, and they're saving the world from these tech moguls or
it's
whatever.
a superhero movie.
They
had a super soldier as one of the villains,
and they're not superheroes.
Yeah,
they're guys that were stealing DVD players.
Yeah,
off of semi trucks. Why would you turn this around into making them heroes?
Yeah.
In a genre that they don't belong.
Fanfare,
and it just
they're capitalizing on that name for money.
It pisses me off because
I will eat it up.
Like that first movie, in high school, man, I lived and died by that. Like it influenced my love for cars.
Yep.
I don't know.
Bro, it was iconic to that industry. I always wanted more than anything. I mean, everyone wanted the neons. Everyone wanted that Terminator 2 spoiler on the back. But the thing that I loved more than anything in that movie, and it's not a reality, and it was all done through sound, was that fucking noise when he shifts. That I always wanted my car to sound like that because I've only ever drove a manual. I've never had an automatic car, and that I wanted that noise. I'm like, man, how do I make that a thing? That was the coolest aspect to me. And the movie was iconic, and now they fucking ruined it. If anybody's shitting on Paul Walker's legacy, it's them continuing this piece of shit franchise.
Yeah.
And that god awful ride that they put in that Universal.
Oh, not good, huh?
Yeah. Was it Fast 7? Was it Fast 7? Fast 8 that was Paul Walker's last movie. 8?
Yeah, because this is 9. Yeah. 8.
You sure? I think it was 7.
I don't think
it was
been
7
2 movies without him.
I think it was 7.
I'm pretty sure there's been 2 without him.
Because Fate the Furious was not with Paul. I'm pretty sure it was 7.
Yeah, it was 7.
F9's the worst.
So Fast 7, like that was the. I wasn't a big fan of Tokyo Drift.
I loved Tokyo Drift. 1 and Tokyo Drift to me were the 2 best.
I
got a soft spot for 2.
2 was
Fast,
good.
2 Furious.
Yeah,
the chemistry between Tyrese and Paul Walker is so good.
So 1, 2, and 3. I guess Tokyo Drift was okay. It wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3, and then 7. That's it. Yeah. Get rid of every single other.
7 was good.
Every other one.
I thought 5 was okay. It started getting overboard though on 5. Like it was like, okay. And spoiler for 9, they go to space. So
that's whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen the memes for family.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's dumb. I'm sorry. I just.
Can you blame The Rock for not wanting to come back?
No,
that's what I'm saying. That was my point. Like, is he not coming back because the franchise is a fucking clown at this point, or is it because of Diesel? Whatever. Either way, I don't think he's in the wrong for not wanting to do the movie if he doesn't want to do it. Look, the franchise shouldn't rely on him. He plays a big role, but he wasn't even one of the original people. It should be able to go on without him.
No, he didn't come till the 5th one.
Yeah. So sorry
bring Jesse back.
Yeah, and he's a mess, man. I've seen I follow his personal page. He looks
like sold his Jetta
train wreck.
Yeah. Casting news. Christopher Nolan's newest movie coming out next summer, Oppenheimer. We've talked a little bit about it on this film before. It's about the man who developed the atomic bomb during World War II. We know it's already starring Cillian Murphy as the titular role. There's that word again I know you love. But they added some other interesting names this week too. Well, I should say last week. Added some interesting names. I'm going to start low and then make my way high for this man over here in particular.
I like that.
First of all, Benny Safdie, the Safdie brothers who did Good Times and Uncut Gems, great movies. Benny Safdie is an actor too. A few people know about that. He's a director who's also an actor, and he's pretty good in his own. He has some good dramatic chops. Rami Malek is in this movie.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So fresh off of the Bond as a villain series there. He's going to be an Oppenheimer. These roles are unclaimed too as of right now. Like, we don't know what they're going to be. We just know they're going to be in the movie. And last but not least on this list, Florence Pugh.
Who's she?
We just have a moment.
She is
Let's just
Ryan.
all have a moment.
I know who she is.
She is Ryan's cupcake.
I'd love for her to be my cupcake.
Yelena.
Those are three right
Oh goodness.
Yep.
Florence Pugh.
there. Yep. So they're going to be an Oppenheimer, which is due out next July. They're currently shooting now, which I'm kind of surprised more word about this cast hasn't been released. I don't know if they're just keeping it to relative unknowns besides these few actors. But it's interesting that we don't know a lot about this, but that's kind of Nolan's MO, his history. He keeps these movies secretive very well, better than anybody, I would say. But that cast is already dynamite to me, and I don't care. I mean, I know a lot about Oppenheimer, and I know about what he did as far as making the bomb. I can't wait to see this movie anyway.
I always look forward to a Nolan film. I think we all do. Hopefully he has a good comeback. I think Tenet let a lot of people down, where we all
agree with that.
I loved it. I mean, love might be a lot. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't one of the Nolans we expected. I think we were all a little bit more let down with that than most of his films. So this seems like a cool story, and I love anything based off like history or real life. So I think he'll kill it. And Florence Pugh's in it. It's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And it's not, it doesn't have the ability to get convoluted like the Tenet storyline did.
Right.
Like, to me, this is very straightforward biopic story based on the man who made the bomb.
Right.
So there's not a lot of ways you could really screw that up. The worst you could do is make it boring, but that's something every movie has a chance to be. So I don't think there's any way that this gets the same off track attention deficit that Tenet did. So yeah, good cast there.
Dan, did you want to say something? You forgot?
No.
Oh, you were going to say something.
I was.
Sorry.
Okay.
You went and then you
my
stopped.
mind?
I can. I can read your mind. We're connected.
We talked about some bittersweet mentionings in the sports section this week, locker room talk, and we have one also this week, unfortunately, for Hollywood Report, and that is director Jean-Marc Vallée, who passed away last week. For those who don't know, Jean-Marc Vallée did the movie Wild with Reese Witherspoon, was my number 3 film of 2016. I highly recommend it. He also did the TV show Big Little Lies, starring Shailene Woodley, Nicole Kidman, and Reese Witherspoon. Another solid HBO TV series, at least for the first season. I thought they could have probably ended it after one season and just wrote it off as a mini series. But the thing I always liked about Jean-Marc Vallée's direction is that he has a very introspective scope when it comes to the way he edits. So what happens is whenever you're following a narrative in real time taking place, you'll see these cuts out of nowhere that, fade to a memory or something that happened. And it's very random. Like, it's out of nowhere. There's no telling when it's going to happen or when it's going to end, even for that matter. But he uses these as like chips into the mind of the characters that you're experiencing and learning about. Not necessarily spoon feeding the memories, but so you can get a grasp of like the emotions or the way characters approach one another. Like, if characters don't like each other, there's a general unease between them. You kind of see why in the background of what's going off here. The talking in the foreground still takes place, but that editing takes over visually what we're seeing, and we learn about these past traumatic instances mostly. So I always like that, and a lot of people have ripped him off since. That kind of style, like any genius will often be victim to. He was only 58.
Wow.
Which is kind of surprising. For a man who honestly got started kind of late in his career. I think he only has 6 directing credits to his name. He made such an impact and a splash. I think Wild is one of the most fearless movies that I've ever seen, and I think it's the best performance from Reese Witherspoon, bar none.
Bro, I never saw it, and it got raving reviews.
Oh, it's so good.
I've always put it like, I'm going to see that movie. And I just never watched it.
It's so good. I would say if you have a chance to buy it, if it's under, I would even go as high as $15, buy it. But I have it. I own it. It was my number 3 film that year. I remember it was the last movie I saw, and I'd never seen that director's work before then. So I was kind of going on a whim, just adding it to my list. saw it, was knocked out, loved his style. And I'm glad he's getting the credit that he deserves, even in his, post life now. Yeah. So now that is over, we have a couple of other things here. Wanted to talk about, if I can get this damn thing working. What do we got? Oh, so Marvel has come and went another year, but we got to talk about the latest property from them.
Spider-Man?
No, I'm not talking about Spider-Man.
The show.
I'm
Hawkeye?
talking about Hawkeye.
Woo boy.
We've all seen it, correct?
Finally, I'm not a letdown anymore.
Okay.
I forgot all my thoughts about the series now.
I'm using respect and restraint for Ryan to not talk about Spider-Man. We're going to talk about Hawkeye, though. There's lots to unload about this. Just 6 episodes of this series. And I know we all have thoughts about it. I wanted to let Dan kick this off because I know Dan every week was the one who was always writing me about it, how excited he was for the next episode. So I wanted to get his opinions first.
I loved it
up
until the bonus scene in the last episode.
Fuck that.
Okay. It
was fine.
You can be honest. The post-credit scene was trash.
That's part of it. So that should factor.
No, it's not going to affect my grade. It's the very last bit, and yeah, it was in the one of the episodes, but it didn't play a major role. I think they wanted to kind of get those people that played those roles a little more screen time. That's it.
Yeah.
It was a handout.
Well, yeah, but the overall. The overall series it just built up, and again I still I got the Marvel encyclopedia, so now I could kind of see a little bit more. But I love the way it developed, and some of those cross universe characters coming in to play was awesome to see.
Where do you put it on the four miniseries they've released?
I think it's number 1 for me.
I'm saying this needs to be a spoiler talk. So if you want to dive further, that's fine.
Oh yeah, spoiler for sure.
I mean, this show's been off for over a week now, so
I have to put it number 1. Just the way it developed, because I was blindsided with the villain for one. Like me and Chris were talking before, it's like, who do you think it is? I think I laid I asked Ryan the other day before he watched before he got to the final couple episodes. I'm like, who do you think the villain is? And we were all on the same page leading up to it. And then out of right field, here comes Fisk, Mr. Puppeteer, everything. And the development of Kate Bishop into a kick-ass character.
The force she was born to become.
Yeah. And yeah, it was great. I think the development of the series, they did a really good job, because I didn't anticipate a lot of what was going on.
Yeah.
So
you said it was the best of the Marvel shows you've seen.
Yeah.
Correct? What would you rate it out of 10?
Probably I'd say an 8.5 out of 10.
All right. Ryan, thoughts?
I'll be the first to admit I was wrong, because as you guys know, I didn't give it an opportunity, which is why you guys have been raving about it week over week, and I hadn't watched it, because much like WandaVision, actually every miniseries they released except Loki, I did not give the opportunity. Loki, I was really looking forward to. I loved that character and was just ready for that show to come out. So I watched it full on right from the start. WandaVision, Winter Soldier, and now Hawkeye.
Well, you tried.
Episode 2. I tried them, and I was like, nope, it's not for me.
It's almost like they make the worst episodes first.
It's a really slow burn for me personally. It was a really slow buildup. And I finally decided I'm just gonna watch the whole thing. I watched it start to finish, and I fucking loved it. Episode 3-ish or so, it really starts to pick up. The story develops. You understand the character development. A lot of my gripes that I think a lot of us agreed about, or were not necessarily negative to you guys, but agreed with the viewpoint, was it was focusing a lot on Kate. And I was really coming into the show with, I want Hawkeye. I want a story about Hawkeye. That's why I wanted the show to come out to begin with. I really wanted to see that character grow. And I didn't see it going that way initially from the
first two
It still
episodes.
stayed pretty much on Kate throughout the series, but
I became okay with it as it developed more. At the beginning, I didn't give it the chance because I was like, I didn't love her at first. I didn't love her character. I wasn't a big fan with where it looked like they were taking it. So as it developed, though, I really enjoyed the show. Episode 5, when Florence decides to become a part of the show.
I think 5's the best personally.
Fell even more in love. I just enjoy her. But anyways, Kingpin, as Dan mentioned, outstanding like end of series release to show that was the character. And as Dan also mentioned, the tie into the universes, pulling Kingpin from Daredevil over to this series,
which we talked about the week before that episode even aired.
Yeah.
I loved that. I love the I can't think of his name right now, but I love the actor that plays him. It's Private Pile from
Go ahead.
Full Metal Jacket. If you've ever seen that, obviously amongst other roles, but I really loved him as that role. So really phenomenal development of the show. I still do think that it weighs a little heavy on the Kate side. I think that seems like they're really setting it up for her to take over, which is fine. I like Hawkeye. I still really wanted to see more about Hawkeye. But I like the unveiling of the characters, and kind of where the story is going. I hated, I'll re-say that. I hated the post-credit scene, as Dan mentioned. Marvel is known for their post-credit scenes.
It was so pointless.
And it was awful. Yeah. They always set us up for something mysterious, for something that's coming in the future. And this didn't give us any of that. And I hated it. I truly believe that these were probably like non-working Broadway stars who they wanted to give work to. And that's fine. Have a 1 minute post-credit scene, not 15 fucking minutes, and then have a real post-credit scene that ties us into the next stage of Hawkeye, where it's going to go something. It was awful. I hated that. And secondly, I hated Kate's fucking end. Well, I'll be Lady Hawk, or I'll be Eagle Soar, or I want to be her fucking corny. That was a stab
at the comics, though, because they made her that in the comics.
No. I don't like it.
That was that was Hawkeye's way of saying like, no, absolutely not.
No, I hate it.
Same with the costume though, too. They had the original comic costume that she drew him, and he goes, absolutely not.
The one thing that I really did enjoy, and this is what tied it together for me with enjoying her role and where they went with it, was when she tells her story of why she wanted to do what she wanted to do.
The Avengers,
why she's ready.
When they showed, when she watched Clint and how he you don't have to be rich and you don't have to be able to fly and have lasers, and that if you just want to do good, that there's a place for that, and that really, for me, as the big softy and whatever that I am, that was the tie-in for me. I liked that.
It's motivation
character piece for her and why she felt so strongly about doing this. So I'm almost with Dan on it being number 1. I think it's probably number 2 for me. It's right up there. It's 1 or 2. And I think,
what do you got better, Loki?
I think Loki's 1, and then this is Loki and this are neck and neck. It's 1 or 2 for them, and then Wanda, and then Winter Soldier is last. But
see, I got Wanda number 2 now.
Yeah, I love Wanda.
Half. I put WandaVision at like an 8.
Yeah,
and Hawkeye at 8.5.
I think the only weakness I had for WandaVision was the last episode. That's the only thing I didn't like about that. Like the whole last episode is garbage.
Yeah.
Like if they would have thrown that out and figured out a new way to end it,
I get it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. That was, the last episode was a stretch with that.
It was typical Marvel.
Yeah.
It was bullshit.
What do you think about this got me on the last episode, the conversation between Elena and Clint?
Oh,
scene on the ice rink.
Yeah, dude, that interaction had me.
Yeah, I was
crying a little bit.
It was tough. No, it was tough though, man, because she goes into that obviously unknowing, and I did honestly. This is just a fault of my own. I'm not as well versed in the history of a lot of these characters or the backstories as a lot of you guys are. Like I enjoy them, but I just don't have that knowledge base. Like you guys fucking retain knowledge like incredible that I just don't know.
No, I don't.
Well, you do a little bit better than me, and Jesse and Chris absolutely. But I didn't realize that Clint and Yelena didn't know each other, or like they knew of each other, obviously, but I didn't so when obviously her coming after him unknowingly, and him trying to express to her, like, your sister sacrificed herself, I'm trying to tell you, like,
you won't believe me anyway.
This is her legacy, I lost something. I know it's your sister and you lost something, but like, this was a big deal, like, I know you're coming after me for a vengeance, but take this in. Like, I'm telling you, your sister sacrificed herself for the world. You think she was killed or I murdered her. She didn't. This is, you need to understand what she did. And that was a huge deal. It was cool. They just tied everything together very well.
At the end of Black Widow is where Yelena gets the hit.
Yeah.
For Clint.
She gets the note or message.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character comes in. I can't remember what her character is.
Yeah,
but
I don't remember.
She's like kind of that higher up. She comes in there and she just goes, "Oh yeah," and hands them.
Is
like,
she S.H.I.E.L.D. or is she?
No, she's a turncoat. She's evil.
Okay, I thought so.
But yeah, she fills her head with all these lies that Clint was the one that responsible for knocking off Natasha and all that. And
I think this series more than the other three,
because he was Ronin, so I think that has to do with it. The fact that he was.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, that character's so dirty.
But within this show themselves, they tied so many little intricate pieces from the universe in. Like, there was a lot of just little hints and details, and like that they showed that the other shows didn't really have. Like, this one seemed more of like a universal piece, where the other ones were more of like individualized offset series of their own.
This was a continuation. Other things felt like their own experiment.
Exactly.
Right.
I agree.
And that I really liked about how they're starting just to tie in. Like I think we all talked about it, or me and you, one of us, like with Kingpin. I mean, you guys talked about it, and I didn't know what you were talking about. But the tying in of the universes, how they're bringing over now Daredevil's possibility.
Netflix.
And we know that he's continuing on in his role.
And there's another one that we can't talk about.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I know.
but overall, I mean,
that one I screamed.
I'm very happy with it. I'm glad that I ended up giving it a shot. It's 1 or 2 for me, and well done.
What would you out of 10?
Man, I think I've got to give it probably a 9.
For where you were the first 2 episodes, that's remarkable.
Yeah,
it developed a lot. I mean, you guys got it. The first 1 or 2 were kind of slow.
I
mean, you probably enjoyed them more than me, but
they're the weakest episodes for sure. I think the first episode is the weakest episode. Yeah, without question.
It really, they turned it on.
They
turned it on late, and I wish it was longer, because they really it got so good. It took so long to get good, and then it got really good, and then it was over. And I'm like, fuck.
Yep.
So
I think you guys did such an awesome and detailed job of just basically describing what about the show worked. And it's no surprise. I love the hell out of this show. And I know a lot of people are going to play the Haley card for it, but I legitimately thought it was an entertaining show. Like, without that, I started it honestly for both Haley and Hawkeye, because Hawkeye's always been my favorite Avenger, as people may or may not know. I love human characters when it comes to these superhero movies. And Hawkeye shows what's great about that emphasis, because like, you look at Hawkeye and why so many people adore him and appreciate him is because he's very much a human character. He makes anybody feel like that if they have the pride to want to save the world, that they can very much go out and be just like him. Kate in this aspect is the same perfect embodiment of that. And we see from an early stage, as Ryan alluded to earlier, we see how she ties into everything and how this feels so personal for her. This is not only a momentary glimpse with grief, but this is also something that she was born to be, quite literally and figuratively, in the scheme of the Avengers and saving the universe. There's much that works about this show to me. Mainly the biggest is the chemistry and the dynamic between Renner and Steinfeld. I feel like they are perfect together. It's strange because I can't really define them as anything. I don't view them as brother and sister, like that kind of bond. I don't view them as father and daughter. I don't view them as even uncle and niece. I don't view them as anything. It's like they're their own dynamic. Like, they created their own kind of chemistry for this. And I love that, they never took it in directions that are, what were you going to say?
Mr. Miyagi and Danielson.
Like a mentor to, kind of. I could see that, actually. Yeah, that's fair enough. their chemistry is impeccable. Their timing is great. The banter between them, I could have got lost in for hours. Honestly, I felt like, she brought out all of his neuroses, and he basically brought out a lot of humiliation in her, and it was a lot of fun. It was very lighthearted, which is what you don't get in a lot of these Marvel shows so far.
Did they smash?
Huh?
Did they smash?
In what, the show or in the no,
in real life and on the show?
And in real life, I'm not sure. She's single, so it's possible, and I think he's divorced, so it's quite possible. But Jesus,
I feel like they might have smashed off screen, obviously, but part of their characters.
I don't blame him.
There's a little love bond going on there. I felt like
the chemistry is certainly there.
Yeah, man.
Aside from that, though, I feel like some great positives are kind of what Ryan alluded to, how it is the continuation. It's the crossing over of certain other shows and properties that we had no idea about. But it's the way that it manages to attain that in just 6 episodes that's so enthralling. For 6 episodes, this really does feel like the most Marvel's done with a TV series in such a short amount of time. Now, there is a backlash to that, too, as I feel like the characterizations is sometimes very thin when it comes to these characters. I feel like an arc in particular with the Death Girl, who very much is in the same boat as Kate is in, but took it a different, entirely dark and different route than Kate did when it comes to saving the world. She instead chose to tear it down. I feel like that arc deserves a lot more time deposited to it, and she almost becomes a secondary character by episode 5 of the series when the big reveal for Kingpin is shown. Speaking of Kingpin himself, the performance is great by that actor who I still can't remember his name.
So short-lived, though.
I looked it up.
I'm killing myself here. I should
Vincent
know. D'Onofrio. Yes, Vincent D'Onofrio. Thank you. The performance is great from D'Onofrio. He hits it out of the park. He was born to play Kingpin. There's nobody else I would even want in this role altogether. My problem, though, however, is that they bring him in episode 5 at the end of that episode. So you might as well say they bring him in episode 6. He's there for 1 episode. He basically gets his ass kicked, which I'm fine with. I would have liked a little more even of a fight between them, but he does the job. He makes Kate look great, and I understand that. It's almost like it doesn't justify his calling on, though. To me, it's like, this is where I feel like Hawkeye should have been 10 episodes, or they should have brought Fisk in a lot earlier. I remember early on we were talking about the show. We were discussing the weaknesses initially in the first few episodes that you and I felt. Ryan hadn't seen it yet. I think we had both agreed on that we didn't like where the villain was headed in this series. Like we felt like the villain was very weak for this show. And I said, I'm going to have to see where it goes from here. But right now I see that as being the primary weakness of this show right now. That tracksuit mafia is ridiculous, whatever the hell they're called. I'm not on board for that whatsoever. And then when they did this big reveal, that changed it for me. However, it was almost like it was too little too late for me too. I wish they had done that. If it's going to be 6 episodes, introduce him in episode 3. Then you have a couple episodes to grow with him. New fans of him who aren't experienced with the Daredevil series can now grow with him and find out why he's such a menace. Because if I'm a new fan to this series watching this and I see Kingpin now, I'm like, he's a bitch. Like he got beat down by Kate Bishop, and like there's nothing about, like, all these characters are turning on him. They said they don't trust him anymore. They're walking out on him. Her mother is like basically like, I'm done with you. Your change is on the dresser. I'm done with you. And she walks out pretty much. So like, to me, they didn't embody Kingpin, why he's so menacing, why his grip on the city is so long. And
they did a good job though of his strength, like in Daredevil,
his physical strength.
Yes. So I did like that. Like,
oh yeah, he busts through the arrow that's like containing him, and he just kind of goes through it no problem.
And during Daredevil series, he was more the puppeteer. He didn't really get his hands dirty. He didn't really,
except season 3. Then we saw how vicious he could become. He fucked Matt Murdock up.
But like, this was like more of a showing of his pure strength.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I would have liked to see a lot more.
Characterization is probably the one overwhelming weakness that I have, and I almost wish, like I said, I felt like there was enough stories, certainly enough arcs. God, they introduced a new one every episode. I felt like there was enough arcs that you could have had this be a 10-episode series, and you wouldn't have lost anything. If anything, you would have gained momentum in the execution, because the conflict itself would have been drawn out, and you would have been anticipating it all the more. It kind of came and went so fast that you almost didn't get a chance to sit there and enjoy all the stakes and everything that was on the line. With that said, I had a blast with this show for 6 episodes, especially for the Christmas narrative tying in. I felt like it was seasonal, very timely. One of those perfect watches that, you can put on any time of the year, really, but especially on Christmas. It does well with that I'll be home for Christmas kind of narrative that it has for it in the eyes of Clint. It was a new and unique way of tackling such a subplot. And I found it kind of creative that they went that route, especially at the route the other 3 Marvel shows have gone up to this point. Where I would put it as far as my rankings go, I've got it at second right now. I have it behind WandaVision. WandaVision is still my favorite. I felt like, except for the last episode, which was very anticlimactic and honestly boring at times, it was a perfect show.
Yeah.
WandaVision to me is a 9.5, and I will borrow your 8.5, Dan. I initially gave this an 8 on my site because I don't do points or decimals on my ratings, but I'm going to borrow your 8.5 because to me it's closer to a 9 than it is a 7. So yeah, I'll go with that. Second best. I would like to see where they go from here on out. One thing I wanted to say about the post-credit scene, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Completely trash. Here's the thing. They had a post-credit scene, but they put it in the actual end of the episode. When Clint's wife gets the ring and it's that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ring, that should have been the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of branching off and showing that now she's becoming, in the comics, that character becomes a pivotal part of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's basically the new
Watch.
The Watch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like the ring. Yeah, the
Watch. I'm sorry. That watch is basically her calling card to say, like, she's basically now the face of S.H.I.E.L.D. With Nick Fury gone, she's kind of the one that takes over for it. Yeah. And I feel like if you put that in the post credits, that's a nice punch on the way out. It gets people curious, because that's the thing that most inexperienced comics fans need, is they need that kind of intrigue. Like, what does this mean? Where does that go? Everything's so cryptic. I need to look this up and find out what that means. That's how you do a post-credit scene.
That was one of those intricacies I was talking about with this show and how they're tying together all those little details. That watch was a big thing.
Yeah.
And I think they did such a good job, but it would have, I think, hit more, like you said, if they would have done it post-credit, more cryptic, and then like, okay, where are we going?
Yeah, maybe her and Clint are like enjoying, Christmas Day or whatever. Maybe they're sipping cocoa, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I did forget one thing. Like, I meant to give you this," and all that. There it is, and then they play the dun 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 music of the agents.
It didn't hit as powerful, just being within the episode, and then the episode's still going a little bit.
It's
longer.
an afterthought. Yeah, it's lost in the shuffle
there a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely would recommend it, though, especially for 6 episodes. It'll go by so fast. You'll love it. Give it a shot if you like Marvel shows and all that. I think this is the one of the 4 that people will be most intrigued by. I think it's the easily accessible show between the 4. Loki is a little too cryptic at times. Like, you really have to be a fan to know the knowledge and the lore of everything there. WandaVision is not good for new fans at all. No. And I feel like Winter Soldier is a little boring for my taste. But
one more thing, post-credit scene that there was that potential post-credit scene that they pulled.
What's that? Oh yeah.
So I was gonna
I'm wondering why they didn't roll, like that guy was saying, do your little Broadway bullshit scene and then have a secondary like they do in a lot of the movies, and have maybe that post-credit scene now, because now it's coming out that there was going to be in there. Yeah, kind of spoiled the fact anyways. They might as well have just put it in the freaking show.
And I mentioned to Chris, one thing I liked is that they did not show the shot.
Right, it was off camera. Like, you just heard it, but you didn't see it.
You heard it, but you don't know what happened.
Where did he get shot? What happened?
No. Yeah,
he always, with how quick they put him in. There's no way that they're going to cut him out this soon. They're going to need to continue that role.
Hawkeye 2,
to pull Daredevil
season 2.
I think he pops up in other things. I think like
they tie him in now.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the next Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah. I'd like to see a big villain roll out of Kingpin. Yeah, I like him. I would think I'd like to see him more involved in more episodes. Or
give us another Daredevil.
Daredevil's so good.
Sign me up. I would watch it tomorrow.
So good.
So yeah, the scene that Ryan's kind of alluding to, though, is that there was a post-credit scene that was shot for Hawkeye, and it's that they kind of give away the well-being of Kingpin, whether he's alive or if he's dead or not. They confirm it one way or the other, and they cut it. I don't think they ever said for what reason why. It was just cut. They just didn't want it in there for some reason.
They were trying to leave just, I think,
intrigue.
Yeah, missing out on the watch thing. They kind of then tried to recapitalize with that. and had nothing leaked about it,
Mhm.
then it probably would have held that mark. Because like Dan said, we kind of left with what the fuck? They didn't show where he was shot or if he's dead or if he's alive.
Yeah.
Let's end the show that way.
Yeah.
And then this story comes out with a spoiler that kind of tells us his fate.
Yeah.
Or not his fate.
Yeah.
I would have rather seen something than read the article about it, and it kind of ruined.
Well, and he's arrested at the end of that episode. The way I would have shot that is like have him like put away in a van or something, like he's going off to jail or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the scene opens up and you see the van is just destroyed, like it's in a wreck or something like that. And you just see the cuffs that are laying there. So he's loose. We know that he's out, running around. I think something like that would have even been pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Missed opportunity. What can you say?
Only we were directing it.
Oh shit.
Story of our lives. We're going to wrap up Hollywood Report here with our weekend box office top 5. So obviously it's been 2 weeks since we talked about this, so a lot has changed on here, but I've noticed some familiar faces from when we last left off, and I noticed some new ones for sure, some polarizing ones, big time. I want to talk about it. We're going to kick it off with number 5, and that is kind of a surprise for a low budget film, American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story. I got to check this out a couple of days before Christmas on a pre-screener. I saw it early and I liked it. I got enough from it. It's very conventional. It's very predictable. I mean, obviously it's a biopic, but like I meant like the way it's made and everything.
Yeah.
It's got those inspirational notes. It's got the swelling of the musical score during all those key moments. It takes no chances. It's the movie that it's advertised as. Fun enough. I would recommend it. It made just shy of $6 million this week, 5.8 in 2,800 theaters for its first week. So this is a good kickoff for Lionsgate Productions here for a movie that by the trailers looked cheap, but after watching the movie, it looks like they did spend some cash on it though. And they're going to make that budget back for sure. Number 4 this week, also in its first week, is The King's Man, the prequel sequel to the Kingsman series. What did you guys think of the first 2 Kingsman movies? You ever see them?
I really liked the first one.
Me too.
Second one was decent.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look super thrilled about this most recent one.
Okay.
They're definitely movies they can be go-to movies for me to watch if I come across it on a streaming platform, or if it's on TV, I'll stop and I'll watch both of those. So I get some enjoyment out of them.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of excited about the Kingsman coming
Mm-hmm.
out because I would like to see that development of how it was created.
It's strange, man, because to me, like after watching this movie, it's almost like 2 films shoehorned into one.
Really?
There's a war epic there that takes place during World War I, which is fine enough by itself. But then they also have this narrative with the Kingsmen itself, where they're, fighting for their country, starring Ralph Fiennes, where he's kind of, creating the Kingsmen themselves. So you often have these stories that are kind of taking, advantage of one another for the focus of the film and the narrative. And also tonally, it's so unlike the other 2 films. Like the first 2 films have that kind of lighthearted kind of wackiness to them. It's very violent, like Matthew Vaughn loves to shoot in these action sequences, but it's also got humor and humility to its presentation. This movie doesn't have such, man. It's almost like a straightforward narrative, and it's like you either get it or you don't. And to me, I didn't get it more times than I did. But that made also just this one just above American Underdog, a very slight edge out there. $5.9 million for The Kingsman this week in its first week. Kicks it off at number 4. One could look at that as a little disappointing considering the first one was number 1 for 3 weeks. The second one, I'm not sure. I think it was number 1 for at least a week, but these are movies that should be doing a lot better than this at this time. And people had better choices this holiday, and they expressed that choice. Number 3 this week, speaking of polarizing, The Matrix Resurrections kicks it off. This is a big number for an HBO release. We've talked about this so much on this show, but like $12 million even for The Matrix Resurrections, considering it was shown on HBO the same day. It's pretty incredible. It tells me a lot of people wanted to go out and see this movie. They spent the money where, they wanted to watch it. And I hope it paid off for them. My initial reaction that I'm getting from my readers is that more times than not, people hated this movie. Not just didn't like it, they hated it.
Ryan loved it. Said it was the best one.
He did say it was the best one.
Best in the series, man. This made the Matrix trilogy or quadrilogy.
Yeah.
I don't know how many there are, but this was the best.
Didn't you say too that Zendaya saved Spider-Man.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they would have done without her being in that movie. It would have been a flop. It would have
Without
been
her
another
guiding
Suicide
hand.
Squad.
They had Ned.
Matrix, I tried to watch and it was terrible.
Did you try to watch it?
Did you watch it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you watched it. Yeah, you wrote a review about it. It was not good.
Yeah.
It was.
Yes, the film freak if he's watched a movie.
Hey,
Did you get an hour in?
he didn't see some movies that I thought he saw. I probably a little less than an hour, maybe.
Okay.
I was like, I'm not. I don't remember the series in itself very well. I gave it a watch because it was The Matrix, and I'm like, cool, it can't be that bad. And I think that's why it made as much money as it did.
Mm-hmm.
No bueno.
So I haven't seen it,
Don't.
but
You can spend your time doing something more productive
I'm
than
gonna-
watching that.
I don't know if this is a spoiler. If I could spoil this.
You can spoil it.
Or is the movie already spoiled?
It
Yeah,
sucks.
I don't think anybody.
Trinity, like her character is considered just as good or better than
Yes.
Neo's.
Yes, and we've never known this for 3 fucking movies, and
But he's the one.
yeah, exactly.
So how is she better than him if he's the one?
That was my point in my review. That was one of my biggest critiques about this. It
It
makes
just
no
doesn't-
sense. It deconstructs everything that was made
So-
about the previous movies.
So give me the green pill.
There's a green pill now too.
Well, the red and blue one are wrong.
The red and blue suck.
Give me the green one.
Yeah, this one, to me, this movie, honestly, while I don't think it's the worst of the franchise like everybody else does, I feel like this felt like a big middle finger from Lana Wachowski. This was her way of not only getting back at the studios for pressuring her years and years to do a Matrix sequel, but also the fans themselves, who are not the people you want to really piss off when it comes to trying to market a movie. But it's littered everywhere throughout this film, you know, in the meta commentary that she gives to sequels and how they're inferior to the original product, to just some subtle digs that she takes at opinions here and there in between on the script. It takes up too much time of the creative structure, and this movie is a big waste. I don't know if there's a movie as far as a sequel goes that's anticipated that has been more disappointing in the last 5 years than The Matrix Resurrections. And I think a lot of people will agree with me on that. Into the top 2, number 2 this week, Dan mentioned it earlier. This one kind of surprises me because it's been out for 2 weeks now. And also there was a pre-screener for it, so I figured that would have taken out a lot of the momentum out of its sales. Sing 2 came in at number 2 this week, $22.3 million, man. It doesn't seem like much, but in a pandemic age, you know, a kids movie around Christmas time, it's clear that the families are flocking to this one for sure. I enjoyed Sing 2. I liked it more than the first one for sure. I felt that it had a lot more of a narrative driving force behind it, and not just people singing songs, which is fine, but I want a story to my movie too, and this one had it. The first one didn't. So yeah, $22.3 million in 2 weeks. Its grand total is 39.5. So it's almost at 40 million now.
It did better the second week than it did the first week.
No. That's total. That's total between the 2 weeks. It's been out for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
39 is its total gross now. It did 22 in the first week. So
22 in the first week.
It did do better in the second week, 17 to 22. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it did. I can't add either.
Man, we are bad at math.
Yes, we
We
are.
need to get some teachers to Zoom.
You can see how well our education system is doing it, Chris, but it's working. So all right.
I think a lot of that too was the fact that Spider-Man came out the previous week. So I think a lot of people were waiting, like they were going to take their kids maybe later to go see it the week after. You know, they're both 2 weeks old. So yeah, looking at Spider-Man's numbers too, which are out of this fucking world. Yeah, that seems to be the way to go. Like more people picked it up this week than they did last week, and I can understand that for sure. Which brings us to our number 1 movie. No surprise to anyone whatsoever, and that is
Clifford.
Where's the mute button?
Nightmare
How do I
Alley.
cut Dan off? Oh, Nightmare Alley. I still got to see that.
No, it's Spider-Man. No Way Home.
Oh, I didn't know. Nightmare Alley did great, didn't it?
Nightmare number 12 this week.
Oh,
in
okay.
its second week, it made a total of 5,200,000.
Spider-Man's number 1.
Spider-Man is number 1 for the second straight week, 84,500,000 more to its total, which is over. This is not updated. I read today that it is now the highest grossing movie of the year $500 million it has made so far.
Jesus, man.
And they said worldwide, it is definitely on its way to $1 billion. It'll hit it this weekend.
Ryan, you gotta go see it.
Bro, I need to, but man.
What do you mean, man?
They're all fucking sold out. I don't want to be in a theater that close with a bunch of fucking strangers.
I need my XD.
I will not, bro. I know I'm like the fucking like spoiled little brat, but I cannot, especially a movie of this caliber. This needs to be seen at Tinseltown in the big chairs with XD. I don't want to see it in a little rinky-dink theater with a fucking little seat like this that some people can't fit in.
I try my hardest, damn it.
I wasn't referring to you. I need a
I know
big.
it's gonna sound insensitive, but the handicap chairs that are there's that one seat that sits next to it.
Then I'm like gonna be like fucking Glansberg sitting by myself, fucking eating alone.
I look like fucking Steven Glansberg.
But you don't want to sit next to anybody else.
But I don't want to be by the handicap spot like I'm fucking some weirdo. Not like
it doesn't matter where you sit. Someone's gonna sit next to you anyway.
Yeah, we had like 5 kids, a mom and a dad sitting next to us.
Bro, I need to see.
There was like 2 seats in between though, so that was fine.
What do you guys think? We're gonna sing Kumbaya here? Or something?
I want
Like, what the
one
fuck is going
seat on each side of me. That's it. I don't care if the theater's sold. I need a seat. I'm just gonna buy 3 tickets.
Yeah,
just so I can fucking, because I need to see this in theater.
Do it.
You almost
Buy
have
3
to.
tickets.
I'll just buy 3 matinees, senior discount tickets, even though I'm gonna go at a regular time and chalk it up.
We're not going to talk about it right now, but I'm going to say Spider-Man is worth every penny. Definitely check it out.
Yeah.
There's almost nobody left who hasn't seen it.
Except for me.
Except for this guy.
I said almost.
I know. I'll get on it.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's just they had so many plates they were spinning, and it all worked out. I could not believe it. I think it's going to be the movie of the year for a lot of people. It was my 11th favorite movie of the year, but let us know what you think. Leave a comment.
I would like a comment.
Yeah.
Was that your nod to Radiohead with your spinning plates comment?
It absolutely was, sir. I'm
appreciate
glad you picked up on it.
I figured. I know you said that was how we're gonna end the show, but you skipped over Don't Look Up, and we gotta talk about that movie.
Oh, okay.
I gotta watch it.
Well, we won't spoil it for Dan. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah,
bro. I loved that movie.
Well, I like now I'm going to draw a blank on the writer or the director. I like his style of comedy. Adam McKay,
dark comedy.
Adam McKay. Yeah. He did The Big Short and he did Vice.
Yes. Big Short, which is another phenomenal movie.
I love both those. I'm the guy that sticks up for Vice. Big Short, I think, is his best film, but this one too, man, hard hitting, but very satirical.
You got to watch it, Dan.
I will.
You jokingly said, because I watched Armageddon the other day,
yeah.
and you were like, "Don't Look Up" is like the modern day or like newer version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Which once watching it, I fully understand. There was a little bit of likeness.
There's similarities.
Yeah, there's similarities with what I was looking for. It was just so well done. I mean, anything Leo touches ultimately ends up being phenomenal.
There's a ton of seats for $325 tomorrow
at Tinseltown XD.
Yeah.
Are there people not buy them? Well, there are a couple in the little straggler side, just not the ones I normally pick.
Plenty of masturbating room.
Anything Leo touches, I love. I'm a big J-Law fan, so I was really pumped to see her. You got Jonah Hill, you got Meryl Streep. I mean, phenomenal casting. Story was cool. And it touched on a lot of social things. You know, obviously, I don't want to give away too much if people haven't seen it, but it seems like everyone has seen this movie. Like my timeline is blowing up.
Yeah.
But just the way that it touches on, outside of just it being a world-ending thing, how we're so involved in just our self-importance, and not the greater good.
Meme culture.
Yes, like it's just there's no. Just the lack of importance or the lack of urgency in this movie.
Awareness. Yeah.
The awareness was mind-boggling to me, but it's so true.
Yeah.
So it really resonated in the way that they told the story, in whether it's metaphorically or just truth to what's actually happening in the film. I really, really enjoyed it. I was reading an article about Lawrence and her on-set relationship with Jonah Hill.
Okay.
And how she said that it was extremely hard to film with him, but in a good way. She said that he took so much into that character, which if you've seen the movie, I mean, he was cringy as fuck, man. It's the first role of his
He's such a dirtbag.
Where I was like, God, I don't like. Yeah, he's a scumbag, man, and I love him and everything. And he played the role so well. It almost mirrored him in Wolf of Wall Street when he gets too big and like into himself, and he just becomes that fucking
gets John Bernthal arrested.
Douchiness of him. So, but she was saying how he took that character to heart so well, and a lot of the stuff was just improv. You know, a lot of like the insults and stuff towards her were him and Meryl Streep apparently improv'd a lot of it. And she said that they literally had like one whole day where it was just a scene of him just finding new ways to insult her, him just improvising how he was going to insult her character.
What's he call her? The girl with the dragon tattoo?
Yeah. And a lot of that he just made up on the spot.
When I was dead.
She went on to say how he literally is a comedic master, and like she really appreciates the artistry in him as an actor and how he took on that role. And but she had such a hard time some days filming with him and not just laughing at him being just a fucking douche because of just the character that he portrays.
He's so over the top. It's great.
You got to watch that.
I will.
You got to watch it.
What's interesting about it is like when they were going to release this film, they've had this film done since 2019. And like they were supposed to release it in 2020. Obviously everything got pushed back because of COVID. And then it got released to a perfect time where like, it's like, wow, this movie has to be about COVID, right? Like that's what the metaphorical asteroid is, right?
Right.
No, the beauty is that this movie can shape itself to any one of the
anything.
environmental disasters that are happening to us. It could be the polar ice caps. It could be everything.
Yep.
You know, and that's what's beautiful about it. It's really more about, as Ryan alluded to, the awareness of everything or lack thereof. It's really how we gross ourselves with, you know, things that aren't important, like appearances and you know, our own sociological commentary on the net, instead of grossing ourselves with the things that, you know, are going to be world ending or world shaping for us.
Yep.
It's very much a call to urgency, but it's also one that has enough ingenuity to have a satirical punch to it too, to also kind of point the mirror back at us and show us just how ridiculous we really are.
When are we going to come together for the greater good and stop focusing so much on our own selfishness?
Absolutely.
And make that whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
If it's COVID to you, sure, but it still rings true.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. The asteroid's metaphorical.
Yeah.
It's not ever something that I took as, well, yeah, that reflection of us, an asteroid's going to hit us. No, it can be anything. It could be racism. It could be anything.
Yeah. It was well done. I really enjoyed the ending. You know, it was one of those movies where I really enjoyed the post-credit ending.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
And I hadn't watched that at first. Like I figured the movie was over. Somebody told me about that on my review, and I had to go back and watch it again. And I was like, oh fuck, I almost have to add that in.
Ties in that part of what he talks about when he does the foreshadowing. Yeah, you can see I can see how you're gonna die or whatever. They got the technology to show it or whatever.
I was always waiting for that to pay off too. I'm like, well, this is kind of just out of nowhere.
He plays that same character like from Ready Player One.
Yeah.
You know, that weird nerdy kind of like the slow draw. I don't know if that's just
Mark Rylance.
Yeah,
he's a great actor too. He looks unrecognizable.
Well done. But I like not even just the post credit. I like how they ended the film with that unexpected, not the normal where we're gonna see where, you know, whoop, like an Armageddon where they figure it out kind of thing. You know, I don't want to give away spoilers, but it's done well. They did it really well.
It's a backhanded ending.
Make sure you watch post credits.
I will.
For comedic relief. It's nothing important, but it's just funny. Phenomenal. What did you score it?
7 out of 10.
7? That's it, really?
Yeah.
What were your
because I felt the comedy wasn't always as strong as it initially started off as. First act was outstanding.
Okay.
But I didn't laugh the longer the film went on. And I also felt like it was also drawn out a little too long too.
Okay.
I wish like they could have cut at least 20 minutes off this film.
Wow.
And it would have lost nothing.
Okay. That's fair.
It almost misses the urgency because it goes on for so long. Yeah. So it's like, well,
I get that.
This end of the world is happening, but we're not hearing about it during all this time.
Yeah.
We're focusing on Cate Blanchett and Leo DiCaprio having an affair.
Fair enough.
You know,
good movie.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about that one. It was one that I put off for a while and I don't know why. Like I just never got around to watching it.
Oh. It was in my top 40 for the year.
Yeah. I thought it was well done. So don't look up. Check it out. Netflix or HBO?
Yeah, Netflix. It's
Netflix.
On. Yeah.
I think think that's all we got.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Be safe.
This is it. Don't drink and drive. Call a friend. There's free, I think Uber and DoorDash Uber and
Free Uber?
Uber and Lyft do the free ride thing for New Year's Eve.
Free DoorDash. That'd be badass.
They need to do that if it keeps people from going out.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, be safe this weekend. We'll catch you see you in the new year.
2022.
2022, man.
Whew. I'll be 37 in 3
all
weeks.
evens. I bet you're happy about that, aren't you?
I do. Well, I do. I really enjoy the all evens. Anyways, catch you on the next one.
Watch, see what's
Thanks
next
for
one.
tuning in, y'all.